would still have to be zero emission, in other words, powered by batteries or hydrogen. But this move, which follows intense lobbying from major manufacturers such as Volkswagen and Stellantis, is still highly symbolic. Although the Commission insists it remains committed to decarbonising road transport, it no longer expects to ban the sale of new petrol and diesel cars altogether. Car makers will be expected to offset the extra emissions by using more European-made steel.
Recapping the top story, 4 people have been shot dead at Walmer Township in Gqeberha in the Eastern Cape. For SAFM News, I am Anne Musa.
A very good morning to you in your SFM Sport headlines. Soccer action. Portugal Bruges remaining calm as Bafana Bafana edged Ghana in the final AFCON warm-up match. And in cricket, as the Proteas women dealing the series against Ireland. All the details just before 6:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good morning. We just start with a couple of weather warnings today. Pretty severe thunderstorms expected to hit parts of Gauteng and parts of KZN across the course of today. Significant weather warnings issued by SA Weather Service. So please pay attention to when that's likely to come. And you might want to avoid driving through those particular times as well. Joburg side, there's a crash on the Albertina Sisulu Road ramp to the N1 South. That ramp is currently obstructed. A couple of breakdowns going north on the N3 to watch out for. One at Modderfontein Road, another further up just by London Road exit. Looking okay between Durban and Pietermaritzburg, no problems. Key Ridge and Cliffdale are fine. There is a breakdown into south at Queen Nandi Drive. Left lane is closed there, and very light conditions going into Cape Town this morning. If you've got the N1 or N2 routes as your sort of target this morning towards city centre, they are flowing nicely. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
7 minutes after 6. Today is Wednesday, the 17th of December, 2025. Good morning and welcome to the Morning Brief on SAFM 104 to 107. We are here bright and early to get you ready for the day before the day gets to you. From the corridors of power in Pretoria to the chambers of law in Braamfontein and the seat of people's power in Cape Town, from the fault lines of geopolitics to the markets where money is made and lost, from crime, communities, traffic and sport. This is where we unpack the big stories, explain them and put them into context. Of course, always with a good dose of your insights and perspectives as well. I'm Thulasizwe Simelane, and here is your essential brief for the day. Let's start with telling you about some of what is to come on the show this morning. The country is reeling this morning from the shock of 2 deadly shooting incidents that happened on the same day, on Reconciliation Day. And I assure you, we are highlighting just these 2, but there were others that were not reported in the media but did occur and cost a life. But let's stick with these 2. 2 shocking, deadly shooting incidents happening on Reconciliation Day. The one, the killing of popular DJ and media personality Warwick Stock, known as DJ Waras, in the Johannesburg CBD, and the fatal shooting of 4 people at 3 different locations in Walmer Township in Gqeberha, as you heard there, and reporting about that in the news bulletin. DJ Waras was shot near the Carlton Centre in the CBD during what's believed to have been an eviction-related confrontation, while police in the Eastern Cape are still investigating whether the Walmer shootings are linked. These are just the latest killings, adding to that growing sense of alarm and concern about gun violence nationwide, and they come just weeks after the mass shooting in Salisville in Pretoria recently, which left 12 people dead in one shooting incident, and amid the relentless gang-related shootings on the Cape Flats. So according to the latest SAPS crime statistics, firearms were used in 2,447 of the 5,794 murders that were recorded between June and September this year, making guns the single biggest weapon of choice in killings. So clearly there's a problem. Communities mourn and police hunt suspects renewed questions are being asked about how easily firearms circulate in our society and whether enough is being done to take them off the streets. We'll bring that conversation into focus. We clearly have a problem, and we'll try and understand the dimension that has to do with the availability of firearms in this country and the seeming failure to really remove them in any decisive way. Right, in any decisive way. We'll speak to Ambassador Andy Mashaile, who is a security strategist and retired Interpol ambassador, and we'll talk to him at about 7:10, unpacking that particular dynamic. At about 10 minutes to 7, 10 minutes to 7, I'll be in conversation with the musician, critically acclaimed musician, award-winning musician Zakes Bantwini. We're talking to Zakes in the wake of the debate that he has ignited about the relevance and credibility of the South African Music Awards, the SAMAs. In an open letter, an op-ed that he wrote, he argues that the SAMAs have lost touch with the very artists and cultural movements that they were meant to celebrate. So in part of the arguments that Zakes Bantwini presents, he uses Tyler's global success as a mirror and basically says the real issue is institutional stagnation as far as the SAMAs are concerned, not individual artists. So we'll talk to Zakes Bantwini. He'll tell us about what his concerns are about a lack of transparency in the judging of the SAMAs, artists feeling disconnected from the institution itself, and talking about how Tyler's success globally exposed structural weaknesses as far as the SAMAs are concerned. Zakes Bantwini is my guest at about 10 to 7 this morning. He will outline those concerns that he has about the SAMAs. And by the way, the SAMAs actually happened over the weekend on Saturday. Did you watch the SAMAs? Do you know who won in what category? Do you know how it all went down? Is it still the same? Does it still have the same feel that it used to have back in the days? And if not, do the issues that I allude to briefly, of course, we will talk to Zakes a bit later on, but do they resonate with you? Are this some of your own observations about the South African Music Awards? And what can be done to, I don't know, put some vavavoom, there used to be that expression, some vavavoom back into the SAMAs if the SAMAs have lost that vavavoom. Zakes Bantwini, my guest at about 10 to 7. Pressure is mounting on the country's Judicial Service Commission, the JSC, as a growing backlog of misconduct complaints against judges raises serious concerns about accountability in the judiciary. New figures show resolution rates, the rate at which complaints are resolved. Those rates have collapsed quite significantly, while unresolved cases continue to pile up year after year. Civil society groups are warning that justice delayed inside the judiciary risks becoming justice denied for the public. Let me just give you some of the figures. The JSC, we are told, resolved only 29% of complaints in 2024-2025. This is a sharp decline from around 56% the previous year. So if you want to get some perspective, resolution of disputes peaked at about 94% in the year 2021-2022. There were 132 new complaints that have been received this year, and only 38 cases have been finalized. So the rate at which the Judicial Service Commission is getting to attending to complaints against the judiciary is dropping quite significantly. And we'll raise that conversation with Mbegazeli Benjamin of Judges Matter, and we'll talk to him at about 7:20 this morning. With all of the changes that we are making for the holiday season, I don't even know who's here, who's not. It doesn't help that Zaikan is doing the sport from home. But anyway, here's how the team lineup is looking this morning. And Musa, as always, with your news updates every half hour. Rob Byrne with your traffic updates every 15 minutes or so. Zaikan, as I say, working from home. Some people are lucky, but she will have your sports update every hour. Dowling Lechela, always right on the money with her hourly updates on business, economics, and the markets. And Sipho Mantula with your Africa update coming up at about 7:20 this morning. Let's together lead the conversations that move all of us, The number to dial 086 000 2032. 086 000 2032. Your WhatsApp voice notes 0614 104 107. Don't confine yourself to what we've put on the agenda. Feel free to add to this agenda and let's have those conversations that move us. We've started it up, we've revved it a few times, it's idled and warmed up nicely. Come on, let's put it into gear and get going this morning.
This is Lungi on any other regular day.
This economy makes me post once a day. Who does that? Like, ew.
Now this is Lungi getting extra with the 20 gig summer deal for just 99 Rand.
I have so many gigs. I could even have a gig, guys. I'm going live every single day to me because get
Extra your summer. Get 20 gigs plus 2 months free YouTube Premium and 100 Vodabucks. Exclusively on the Vodapay app. T's and C's apply. Further together. Vodacom.
The Atlas Lions aren't willing to negotiate. They won 3 points in their Group A opener to emphasize that they are the hosts. However, the Comorians have a massive plan to rise to the occasion. This is the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2025. Witness Morocco versus Comoros on Sunday, 21 December, starting with the opening ceremony at 8 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC2. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2025. It's game on everywhere.
Thulasizwe Simelane on the Morning Brief. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
All right, let me tell you how your weather will be looking. A lot of people are traveling, so it is important to pay attention to the regional weather, especially as you make your way around the country, as many people have already started their December and their holidays while we are still here. All right, anyway, 2 warnings that the South African Weather Service wants you to know about. This one is quite serious, and from the conversation we had with Lehlohonolo Tobela yesterday from the South African Weather Service, in terms of the coding, you should be paying attention to this one. It's an orange level 5 warning. Severe thunderstorms leading to flooding of susceptible roads, settlements and low-lying bridges and areas, excessive lightning, strong damaging winds and large amounts of small hail and or large hail. That is to be expected over KwaZulu-Natal, except in the southeast coast. So all of KwaZulu-Natal except the southeast of that, at the coast, southeast coast of KwaZulu-Natal. Then you have a yellow level 2 warning. It is for severe thunderstorms leading to localized flooding of susceptible roads, settlements and low-lying bridges and areas, excessive lightning, strong damaging winds and large amounts of small hail and or large hail in places, and that is to be expected in Gauteng, Northwest, Free State, eastern parts of the Northern Cape, northern parts of the Eastern Cape, southeastern coast of KwaZulu-Natal, and the Highveld and escarpment of Mpumalanga. The rest of your weather looks like this. Pretoria will be fine, becoming cloudy with scattered showers and thunder showers with a minimum of 16 and a maximum of 27. Johannesburg will be fine at first, otherwise cloudy with scattered showers and thunder showers, 15 to 25. Vereeniging, fine at first, otherwise cloudy with scattered showers and thunder showers, 16 to 26. Bombela will be partly cloudy with scattered showers and thunder showers, 17 to 31. Polokwane, partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers, 15 to 30. Mahikeng, partly cloudy with scattered showers and thunder showers, 17 to 27. Bloemfontein will be cloudy with scattered showers and thunder showers, 17 to 25. Kimberley will be partly cloudy with scattered showers and thunder showers, 18 to 28. Uppington, partly cloudy with isolated showers and thunder showers, 21 to 32. Cape Town will be partly cloudy with light rain in the morning, becoming fine from the afternoon with a minimum of 18 and a maximum of 23. George, cloudy with a minimum of 16 and a maximum of 22. Gqeberha, cloudy, 16 to 21. East London will be partly cloudy, becoming cloudy with scattered showers and rain, 18 to 23. Durban will be partly cloudy, becoming cloudy in the afternoon with widespread showers and thunder showers, 24 to 30. Richards Bay will be partly cloudy, becoming cloudy in the afternoon with widespread showers and thunder showers, 21 to 35. And lastly, Pietermaritzburg will be partly cloudy, becoming cloudy in the afternoon with widespread showers and thunder showers with a minimum of 20 and a maximum of 21.
SAFM supports a litter-free South Africa. Play your part in keeping our surroundings and environment clean. SAFM, leading the conversation. As the year winds down, SAFM wishes you and your loved ones a safe, joyful, and truly wonderful festive season. Whether you're traveling, celebrating, or taking time to rest, stay tuned for the stories, the conversations, and the moments that keep us connected. From all of us at SAFM, thank you for making us part of your journey. SAFM, leading the conversations that move us. Ashraf Gada on SAFM.
Should South Africa, in terms of your point about looking at things internally, what should we accelerate internally to fix anyway, so that whichever accusations come from wherever, it would be a blunt accusation?
I think we need to stop getting sucked into these arguments. It's part of the Trump strategy. You know, you flood the zone with absurdities, and we spend all of our time defending against nonsense like this, absurdities like this. And then there's a second aspect which I think our government is failing in rather badly is, and I know I'll get into trouble for saying this, but they need to sit down and start talking to AfriForum for Solidarity.
Andre Flock is a conflict resolution expert.
The National Pulse, weekdays 3 to 6 p.m.
Worldview Update, bringing you closer to international or global news.
21 minutes after 6. In fact, make that 22 minutes after 6. It's coming up to that 22 minutes after 6. European leaders are taking a decisive step towards accountability in the Ukraine war, launching a Hague-based International Claims Commission to assess damage caused by Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The move lays the legal groundwork for future reparations that could run into hundreds of billions of dollars, even as diplomatic efforts to end the war intensify. Ukraine insists justice cannot be traded away for peace, while questions linger over who will pay and how. This morning, let's unpack what this commission means for Ukraine, Russia, and the future of international law. Let's do exactly that with Roland Hanwood, political scientist and commentator at the University of Pretoria. Good morning to you, and thank you for your time. So it's quite interesting timing in terms of launching an instrument of international accountability, possibly, well, with elements of international law that has to do with, I suppose, a modicum of justice at a certain point in the future, doing it while the conflict is still raging. Say a bit more about that. Talk to me about what your understanding is about the intentions of this commission. Is it primarily legal, political, or merely symbolic?
I think it's all of that. The idea is to enforce international law and the principles. The confirmation that basically stems from this is that the Russian invasion of Ukraine is an illegal act. It's a sovereign country that was invaded for no specific reason in the context of that requires a war. It was not self-defense, it was an attack. And that is the underlying principle. And that requires a process that will keep accountability, that will ensure the rights of people are protected, and that the sovereignty of a country is going to be protected. And the argument linked to this is somebody must pay for the bill. You can't turn around the illegal act, but there must be consequences. And then other issues come into play, such as the fact that people have been wronged, not only in a symbolic way, but in a real way, not only in a material way, also in terms of itself. So it's a range of issues that underpin this. But I think there's another dimension, there's a lot are happening in terms of the negotiation process to end the war. And this is probably not aimed at that, but it will be part of a process that increases the pressure on Moscow, that indicates to Moscow the longer this continues, the bigger the problem becomes. I think something that is important is that the numbers that are being used are numbers based on what the World Bank calculated, and that is the cost to Ukraine of rebuilding until the end of 2024. So the 524 billion that is mentioned does not include the escalation of the war in 2025. It's another year. So it's a staggering cost that Russia is facing if this is implemented because of its actions in the war.
But realistically, given how the war has been going, is it realistic to expect that Russia will ever pay any kinds of reparations?
Well, that is something that one has to see. There are very good examples in the past of countries having to pay war reparations. So it's not an idea that has never been implemented. And it can take different forms. One of the issues on the table is Russian money that is mostly in Belgium or held in Belgian banks. It covers about half of what the expected cost is going to be. That is up to the end of 2024. And that money has been frozen, but now there's a discussion on opening up that to support Ukraine, at least 200 billion of that, support Ukraine going forward. And the idea is that once Russia starts repaying its war damages, Ukraine will have to repay the money that it gets from Russian assets. If Russia do not pay what they are required to pay, then Ukraine will not have to repay this money because it's money that is paying to it because of what Russia did. So it's a complex set of issues that are being put forward to support Ukraine, make it possible to start addressing some of the issues, but it's definitely going to put pressure on Russia. It is also, I think, important in putting pressure on the United States in terms of where they stand with the negotiations at this stage and the willingness of President Trump to just force Ukraine to let go of its territory. Europe is strongly against that, saying the dangers that creates for them is unacceptable. They will not support it. So all of this is part of that process in a broader sense, not only a sense of justice, but also part of the negotiations process.
Yeah, in fact, I was going to go in that direction because it's not insignificant, is it, that this International Claims Commission, the number of leaders that have signed up to it, 34 European leaders. And I don't imagine that Russia will view it as a non-partisan, effort. What are the implications for any peace negotiations and the role of Europe therein?
I think it cements the role of Europe in supporting Ukraine. It definitely indicates the strong opposition of Europe to what Russia is doing and the position it's taking. And it's definitely a signal that Europe is not going to bow to Trump's pressure and through that to the pressure Russia puts on the process. There are going to be different interpretations. And if there's no agreement that in Europe, there's not going to be an agreement. And the influence of the US is going to become less and less process. So that's another dimension to this. President Trump has signaled his willingness to walk away if he does not get what he wants. The position of Europe is that what Trump wants is what Putin wants. It puts European security directly on the block, and they're not willing to take that risk.
All right, let's leave it there for this morning. Thank you for your time. Roland Hanwood is political scientist and commentator at the University of Pretoria.
This is SAFM Sport with Sai Khan.
Good morning, good morning. Let's kick off with soccer action. Bruges playing down concerns ahead of AFCON after Bafana's narrow 1-0 win over Ghana in their final warm-up at Dobsonville. The veteran Belgian admitting the performance wasn't pretty, but says results matter more than rhythm at this stage. Sipombole's long-range strike seal the win, with Bruges confident that key players still to arrive will start on the side in Morocco. Bafana opened their Africa Cup of Nations campaign against Angola on Monday night. Now, plenty to look forward to elsewhere in terms of soccer, and you can look at the likes of Manchester City have news to report, and in that Belgian winger Jeremy Doku will be out after picking up a leg injury. Manager Pep Guardiola says Doku faces 2 to 3 weeks out, ruling him out of league games against West Ham, Nottingham Forest, as well as the League Cup quarter-final against Brentford. In the meantime, France and Paris Saint-Germain forward Ousmane Dembele has become the men's FIFA best player, while Etana Bonmati collected the women's award at a ceremony in Qatar. Dembele capped a standout season that included Paris Saint-Germain's first Champions League title, while Bonmati takes the women's honor, and that's for a third straight year. Good news with regard to the cricket front and exciting things from the Proteas women. At their star, Janae Fanikar has praised the team for their batting performance against Ireland in the second ODI in Gqeberha yesterday. Saw them post 375 batting first, their highest ever total in one-day international cricket. A couple of centuries from captain Lara Wolpott and Sinead Lewis led the way, while Fanikar also contributed 88 as they surpassed their previous record of 337. That was back in 2017. Also against Ireland to win by 74 runs. Here's Sinead Fanikar.
Yeah, look, it's always nice to clinch the series, with a game to go. I think the batting was fantastic. We speak about, pushing those, I guess that 400 mark all the time. And I think 370 odd on a wicket like that, a bit slower. It's not the high felt. So for me, I think that's a box tick, close to 400. So obviously very proud of our skipper. She's been leading the way with the runs, and Sinead has been in incredible form as well.
Swing back, we'll bring you more sport, top of the hour. For the morning brief, I'm Zyklon.
Good morning, I'm Anne Musa. In the headlines, 4 people have been shot dead at Walmer Township in Gqeberha, the Eastern Cape. Police have confirmed the incident, saying the shootings happened in 3 different places. Sport, Arts and Culture Minister Gayton McKenzie and his Deputy Peace Mabe have extended heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of Warwick Stock, better known as DJ Waras. Waras was shot and killed in the Johannesburg CBD yesterday. And some U.S. media, including CNN, The Hill and Yahoo News, have reported that South African authorities briefly detained 2 U.S. staff who were processing white Afrikaners seeking refugee status in the country. The alleged incident is said to have happened at a temporary refugee facility in Johannesburg. I'll have details on these and other stories at 7.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
It's a morning marked by a lot lighter volumes than normal for a Wednesday morning. Some of those key, often busy routes, Pretoria down to Joburg through Midrand, moving nicely. N3 coming up from Germiston on your way towards Galuli's looking good. The N12 out of Benoni through Boksburg open and flowing as well. There is a usual queue, though, the N1 Diepkloof. We mention it often because it's becoming a busy route. N1 north into Diepkloof down to Uncle Charlie's through that connection onto the N12. That is fairly slow for this time of year. A lot of breakdowns around Durban, one heading out near Pavilion Mall, another on the N2 north in the roadworks up to Umslanga, so that might just have a bit of a slowdown impact, and one on the N2 south to watch for, left lane closed just by Queen Nandi Drive. Quite a big story coming out of Cape Town concerning Metro Rail and train users. It's an all lines alert. The regional train service currently disrupted due to an Eskom power supply issue. Commuters are being urged by Metro Rail themselves to seek alternative transport. In reality, the train that you might be setting out to hook into is unlikely to come along at this stage. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
The business update on SAFM.
Let's say good morning to Ntauling Lechela. It must be nice having a holiday in Ntauling. Must be very nice. I wonder what that feels.
It was really nice. I rest.
Yeah. Well, at least you have your voice, Didn't lose your voice. I went there. Let's start with chip makers. Tell me about another Chinese chip maker that you're saying is delivering an impressive market debut.
Our shipments are integrated, delivered one of China's strongest IPO days this year, with dumping gold on their first day of trade, giving the company a market cap after raising close $600 million. Mr. X designs GPUs similar to the ones by NVIDIA, which are used in AI computing, placing it in a fast expanding segment driven by rising demand AI services. So its listing follows a wave of strong debuts by Chinese chip makers, including more threads. The rally comes as China accelerates efforts to build a local semiconductor supply chain amid U.S. export restrictions on advanced chips, putting limits on NVIDIA's products. Now, newer players such as Byron Technology and Inflame Technology also targeting CPU demand left unmet by U.S. suppliers. Analysts say investor enthusiasm takes off high growth expectations and confident that China will continue backing domestic AI chip development as tensions persist.
And then tell me about Japan's export growth. You're saying that it
Yep,
has topped market expectations.
that's right. Now, the world's third largest economy posted its fastest growth in exports in 9 months, rising to over 6% last month, beating market expectations. Finance Ministry data shows the increase exceeded the 4.8% forecasted by economists and accelerated from October's 3.6%. Export growth was driven by a 23.6% jump in shipments to Western Europe and an 8.8% rise in exports to the US, marking the first increase in shipments to the US since March. By contrast, though, exports to mainland China declined 2.4%, food-related shipments down 5.9%. Now, the weakness comes amid heightened diplomatic Prime Minister Senator Kaiki warned that a Chinese move on Taiwan could trigger Japanese military intervention, prompting Beijing to restrict Japanese food imports. Exports to Hong Kong, though, rose just over 11. While on the other side, imports increased 1.3%. This, however, was below expectations.
All right, no trading here at home yesterday, but how did
Mhm.
it look in the rest of the world?
Starting in the US markets, mostly close to red mark on the back of mixed economic data. We got November's job report coming in better than expected, showing an increase of 60,000 jobs for the month. Of course, we also got COVID delayed report on the back of the government shutdown that showed that the economy hit 105,000 jobs and unemployment that is increased 4.6%. This saw the Dow Jones shed 0.6% by the close. As you mentioned here at home, markets were closed. Looking at how we ended Monday, the Wall Street declined 0.4%. Metals prices. But to the rand now, trading at a year high, 1677 greenback. In commodities, a possible end to the war between Ukraine and Russia weighing on oil with Brent trading below $60 a barrel this morning. This as a peace plan would lift sanctions on Russia, bringing in more oil into the market. The market, of course, that is considered to be in oversupply. And then lastly, in Asia, markets in positive territory this morning, boosted, of course, by the upbeat data out of Japan.
All right, Ndauling, thank you for that. We'll touch base with you in the second hour, just after 7:30.
Africa Update on SAFM.
And on standby with that is Sipho Mantula. Raz, good morning. Let's start. It's hard to believe it's been 15 years, has it, since the Arab Spring, the cradle of the Arab Spring, witnessing the early protests. And of course, we're talking about Tunisia here.
Absolutely, Tulas. Refreshing morning and jump off to the listeners. Tulas, you will recall, as you were saying, that was the eruption of the Arab Spring, but this is the genesis of today, the 17th of December 2010. And you will understand that 2011, we saw the removal of Zain Albedin Ben Ali after 23 years of our thrillers. But when you look at this defining moment, they have set aside this day as the National Day of the Revolution. Initially, it was on the 14th of January, because that was the departure of President Ben Ali during that time. But when you look at where is Professor Keisha Saidi with the current challenges facing the young people and the students of that country, they are promising growth in terms of economy. They have said their GDP expanded by 3.2% in the second half, compared to what happened in the period of the first quarter, which was 1.4. We are expecting growth to that basically use of social justice, unemployment, issues of social security, health, education. So the previous pillars of 2010 as we have alluded, that was the final, the and even evolution.
Yeah. So let's talk about the concern from Malawi's vice president about the situation in Madagascar. She believes it calls for urgent action, particularly from the SADC Troika.
Absolutely, Tulas. There might be a SADC Troika this week, Tulas, even if there's information coming out of Gaborone, whether they had actually this week. As the Troika has met over the weekend, Tulas, and remember, Malawi is the chair of the Troika, Tanzania leaving the Troika. Eswatini. Now, it leaves the longer with the task to say that they are deepening political and economic island. And they are warning that the delay will risk a prolonged violence and the instability of gas. Public hearing the curriculum will have to take you from the Troika. What does the Troika meeting have concluded? Because they are looking at the report of the You'll be looking at that report to say that the pending mission report to the island, what are the recommendations? How do we implement them? Because SADC took an initiative. Right, I've said it before, that were overtaken whose hands the current general in the island of.
To say the situation in the DRC is fluid, it would be an understatement, Sipho. Yesterday, you and I were talking about Katanga being the next site potentially for the M23. But now it seems they are retreating somewhat at the request of the United States.
Let's remember that the US, as I've said, they are playing that diplomatic mediation exercise in the DRC, but also Doha process. Now, M23 pulls out of Uvira, abruptly so saying that they will want the issues of the Doha process to be followed up with the government of Kinshasa. It means that they are pulling, but there's also pressure coming from Washington. And that's how you say that Washington has already appeared before the UN Security Council, alleging and accusing Rwanda for supporting M23. But they are pulling out of Uvira, and at the same time, they will be looking at engaging with the Doha process. Like you cannot confirm the development every 24 hours. There is development also requires diplomacy to be excellent to that, not only from the UN, we have the SADC, we have the AU, we have many processes to arrest the situation in the
Yeah, two historical archives that you want to pull up for us. One of them has to do with Sun City, Sipho. I can never go to Sun City and not think about the inter-Congolese dialogue. There's an anniversary of that from 2002.
Absolutely, Thulas. It's 23 years. And remember, it was called the Global Agreement. But others, they say it's an infinite. That's why we saying that whole global is inclusive because they've been 10 2001 and 2010. It took almost 18 months to get Congolese to agree on what former President Thabo Mbeki did, what we call 1+4. So 1+4 is that we had President Kabila remaining as the head of state, and 4 vice presidents coming from MLC, from Bemba, CD Goma, Ruberwa, and the government in Kinshasa and the civil society. So this agreement is what the Congolese were calling earlier this year also to say we might have to go back to Sun City and we might need who can engage on the crisis that rather than relying in Doha and Washington process.
And then the second archive you're pulling up for us is from 17 December 1920. This was before apartheid, though, apartheid South Africa, Sipo. This was Union of South Africa, was it not?
Absolutely, Thulasizwe, as a union, but at the same time, it's a build-up for them to maybe fulfill the Berlin Conference, occupy Southwest Africa, Namibia, when they actually failed, giving the union of a mandate to govern Southwest Africa, which was then it took long to Namibia 1946 went to the UN, to the League of Nations, requesting to be out of the union. Also in 1988, so we saw that Ethiopia South Africa to that matter. You know, 1990 was that stream that came from Roma and others when they got. So this is a very deep sense to that. 105 years that you are talking now, 35 years. That's how the international law sometimes to that the problem. You know, you can think the international law sometimes resolve state sovereignty. Sometimes it's complex matters. Asante sana
Sipo, thank you for that. That's Sipo Mantula there with your Africa update for this morning.
Pep Guardiola's boys are convinced victory will be a good festive gift to their fans.
Hits it in towards Haaland. Haaland scores! Cross in the area. Ibrahima Konate misses the ball. Haaland scores!
However, the Hammers are confident that the citizens will not enjoy home ground advantage.
Range shots maybe. And that's a good try, and Wilson scores! Against his former club. Petrovic couldn't keep it out. And West Ham with perhaps their first attack.
This is the Premier League. Catch Manchester City versus West Ham United on Saturday, 20 December at 4:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC 3. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
This festive season, enjoy a province endowed with natural attractions, adventure, wildlife, and rich cultural heritage. Discover the ultimate wildlife experience that brings you closer to nature. Explore the breathtaking nature reserves dotted across Mpumalanga and the endless adventure and outdoor activities. Unwind on the spectacular landscapes and majestic waterfalls. Make Mpumalanga your holiday destination of choice. Mpumalanga, embrace the unknown, live the adventure. This message is brought to you by the Mpumalanga Tourism and Parks Agency. Mpumalanga, the place of the rising sun. Visit mpumalanga.com for more information.
Thulasizwe Simelane on SAFM.
So it's coming up to 12 minutes to 7. Let me just read you an excerpt from an opinion piece penned by the award-winning musician Zakes Bantwini. I'll read just a paragraph or so that we can get into the conversation with him. Writing, I think, on Monday, because the summer awards were on Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, but he will correct me if I'm wrong. Says, yesterday, the South African Music Awards happened. I'm a musician and I barely knew about it. That's not me being careless. That's where we are now. The summers used to mean something. They used to mean everything. Now, most of us in the industry didn't even realize they were happening. We need to talk about how we got here. And then goes on to talk about it having been the day that stopped the nation. That's Zakes Bantwini in an opinion piece. He joins me now to take that conversation forward. Zakes, good morning, and thank you for your time this morning. Before we get to where we are at the moment, what are the observations you are making about the sense of importance and hype that used to attach to the summers compared to what happens now?
It really me just reflecting on how it used to be when it comes to this event, which is the summers. And it's an event that we all used to look forward to. Like I said, it really stopped the nation. Everybody from all walks of life, they knew there were summers happening. From business community to politicians to sport to just the rest of the nation. People would have opinions. The following day, there'll be discussions about what had happened yesterday. Some agreeing with what had happened, some happy. You know, there'll be a lot of conversation just thrown from what has happened just yesterday, and it will be something that people will even look forward to. Uh, all the musicians will be attending the awards in that particular weekend. Probably will be few events that will be happening because no artist is available, but every artist is on those particular awards. And I think it's the same thing that is happening when it comes to the Grammys. I mean, in the US, the Grammy week or even the Grammy day, there's no even one concert happening outside because all the musicians Grammys. I think it's just the very same thing that used to happen in South Africa. Right now, where we are, we're at the point where when the awards are taking place, even when the awards are announced, even actors are not even there to collect their awards.
Yeah.
You'd hear someone saying, "I will collect this out on their behalf." Even artists are no longer even supporting, the awards. And I think for me, that was actually really like the outcry in saying, are we really going to let these awards die now?
Yeah.
Yes, the artists as the music business community, and also to also call the organization the race and saying, "Hey guys, let us let us work together
Yeah.
in really preserving these awards."
So what's gone wrong, Zakes? I mean, you make the point in the article about comparing this recognition, which used to mean something to artists, used to mean everything to artists being recognized at home, and you compare it with global recognition and saying that now artists actually tend to attach more value to international recognition than they do to domestic recognition in the form of the summers. Why is that?
I think it's the credibility that has been lost into the awards. It's really just the credibility part of it. Because these international awards were always there, but they were always there. No, they didn't just happen now. They were always there. But I think the credibility of the summers meant something, and the music community really respected the credibility of the awards and how the awards used to do. Uh, from the nomination, if you won an award, you will see your career changing exactly as the way you see the international awards. When you get this international recognition, then your career changes. I mean, my career really shifted after winning a Grammy. I've seen it, but also I was so lucky that I was alive and I was participating at the time when you win a summer. Also, your career changed. Even when you are nominated, from the PR perspective, to the support to to brands wanting to work with you, to the red carpet that everybody demanding to have a conversation with you, content that was created around you being nominated. Winning an award it was a plus, but just being nominated it was a huge achievement. Currently, even someone who's nominated, you don't even remember that you are nominated. That's just how much people are not taking these awards. I had one of my artists which were nominated this year, awards that they were nominated. The album that is released under my label. Um, I didn't even know that the awards were happening last week until a friend of mine called me to ask me, "Hey man, can you just get me the award, the summer award tickets?" And the question that I asked them, where are they happening? And for me, I was hurt just by that. And I knew that something needs to happen because we cannot sit down and let these awards die because all even other African nations they envy to see our sporting
Hmm.
how our sport
Yeah.
is. You hear sometimes say to them, "Look at in South Africa, this is just local teams, but look how packed it is at the stadium." They envied our awards, and this is a local award in South Africa. Look where the awards are. Other African countries
Yeah.
don't even have these awards, and for us, they're really letting go of what really is something so big and what means something to us as the music community.
So Zakes, as we draw to a close, how do we fix it? I see that part of what you're talking about addresses that issue of artists needing to show up. That
Yes.
staying away is just simply not, it's not helpful either.
Yes. I think that's that, and like I'm saying, I think Risa needs to lead from the front, and I trust Risa, because they themselves, and I know there's been um, challenges with regards to sponsors and even them trying to go around and raising some sponsors. They've had some difficulties, and also artists not showing up because, as you would understand, when Risa goes out to different business community asking them to support the awards, and then there the awards are happening at the SABC, but no artist is showing up, so the community isn't supporting it. Obviously, the sponsor would say, "Why would I support this award when even the community is not even supporting this particular award?" So it's that it's us as it's Risa leading it forward. Also, musician taking in a decision to say when it's the day of the awards, we need to avail ourselves. We need to be there to give opportunities to content creators walk those particular red carpets, participate in these particular awards,
All right.
so that the awards go back to where they used to be.
All right, Zakes, thank you for that. The piece is out and you can read it for yourself. The thoughts of Zakes Bantwini, the award-winning musician, reflecting on industry awards that he says used to stop the nation, but something seems to have gone wrong in latter years. So quite an interesting take on that.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Volumes much lighter than normal, very light, in fact, across the Gauteng Highway network. Just that one hold-up is the M1 North through Diepkloof onto the N12 East towards Southgate and Uncle Charlie's. There's a bottleneck to work through there. Durban reasonably busy. If you're coming in from the airport, there's a crash, a vehicle blocking the N2 southbound. It's sort of got itself perpendicular to the carriageway just before Sabaya, so there's quite a heavy backlog. You might want to detour out to the M4 highway to avoid that. Further down, a breakdown by Umgene Road on that section of the N2 South. And then if you're going north, there's a breakdown on your way to the airport in the roadworks between Kumashu and Mshlanga. So there's some slow moving traffic there. Cape Town this morning, N7, Jake's Curvell Drive going north towards Viking Way in Epping's busy. Crash on the N2 inbound at Jan Smuts. And the major story out of Cape Town this morning is the Metro Rail trains. Trains are heavily disrupted. They may well not come along. The regional train service, that's the entire suburban Metro Rail service across Cape Town, disrupted due to an Eskom power supply issue. Metro Rail are advising their own commuters to seek alternative transport options. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
Hello, South Africa. Thabo Senong is my name. The wait is finally over.
My name is Mazola Molefe. The wait is finally over.
My name is Lonwabo Miso. The wait is finally over. AFCON 2025 kicks off on the 21st of December and concludes on the 18th of January 2026. It's game on everywhere. Catch 52 live matches across SABC2 on all your favorite SABC radio stations and streaming live on SABC Plus.
Feel every goal, cheer every victory,
and celebrate Bafana Bafana with the nation.
SABC Sport is the official broadcaster of AFCON 2025.
The brightest colors of summer will be witnessed during the one-day international series between Mzansi's Women Proteas and Ireland. Experience the first ODI contest on Saturday, 13 December at 9:30 a.m. live on SABC2. South Africa's Reconciliation Day will be celebrated pitchside during the second ODI clash on Tuesday, 16 December at 9:30 a.m. live on SABC3. The Proteas and the Irish will wrap up the action with the third ODI match on Friday, 19 December at 1:30 p.m. on SABC3. You can also enjoy all ODI matches live on SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
Call Thulasizwe now, 086 000 2032.
All right, let me take a quick voice note. This person wanting to reflect on the conversation we had about the setting up of the International Claims Commission in relation to the Russia-Ukraine conflict that is set to be about reparations at a future date for Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
Good morning, Thulasizwe. You know, these guys that you normally call unless analyze this Ukraine war are really suffering from illusions. That just like the professor yesterday said of Stellenbosch, still believe that the hegemony of the Western countries in America will continue. No, the world has turned, my man. These things that they're talking about, they're just dreaming. Russia is going to hit hard Ukraine and nothing will Europe do. Most of the European countries are sinking in debt and their Western imperialism is dying a slow death. We are aware of that. And they are busy talking about reparations for Ukraine. What about the slave of the black people, slavery of the black people? Shouldn't we be paid? You know, this is a problem, but I'm very much happy because most of the African people have awakened. We have got leaders like Ibrahim Traore, and the Traores will follow on the African continent. So this nonsense that they always talk on the radio must stop now. Thank you.
All right, I hear you. But the analysts we invite are analyzing actual events that are happening. Your reading of the trajectory of that story is one thing, but the reality on the ground is that it is an event, a news event that is happening. There are these European nations that have signed up to this claims commission, and as a result, we grappled in part with Roland Henwood with the question of whether this is realistic at all, whether Russia will ever pay any reparations. But it doesn't detract from the reality that it is a news development that is of significance. How you read the trajectory, geopolitics is a separate matter. That's why we bring you these perspectives, so that taking that in, you can also, form your own view about how it will unfold and how you would like to see it unfold. So I think it's just completing a picture for you, giving you other perspectives as well. With that, let's go to N Musa with the latest news.
In our top stories, 4 people killed in Walmer Township, and South African authorities briefly detain US government personnel. Good morning. 4 people have been shot dead at Walmer Township in Gqeberha, the Eastern Cape. Police have confirmed the incident, saying the shootings happened in 3 different places. Investigations are underway to determine if the incidents are linked. Sport, Arts and Culture Minister Gayton McKenzie and his Deputy Peace Mabe have extended heartfelt condolences to the family and friends of Warwick Stock, better known as DJ Waras. Waras was shot and killed in the Johannesburg CBD yesterday. In their statement, the ministry described him as a dynamic and respected figure in the media and creative industries. They highlighted his career, which began at YFM before he joined 5FM hosting the Fifth Element and later Live Amp on SABC1. Waras also co-hosted the Shady podcast with industry colleague and close friend DJ PH. The ministry says the nation mourns his untimely passing and investigations into his death are ongoing. Paul Magubane reports.
The Department of Sports, Arts and Culture says, alongside his work in broadcasting, DJ Waras remained committed to the culture of DJing. As a club DJ, he brought energy and authenticity to the venues around the country, celebrating South Africa's rich and diverse musical landscape. He was widely regarded as a mentor and supporter of emerging creatives, always willing to open doors and encourage new voices. The department salutes DJ Waras for his significant contribution to South African media and the arts.
The Polokwane magistrate in Limpopo is today expected to deliver judgment in the bail application of musician Ihlohonolo Chauke, better known by his stage name Shebe Mabona. He has been in custody since his arrest last month. He is facing several counts, including 3 of attempted murder, assault, and alleged possession of an illegal firearm. The state is opposing bail. Rindani Ralipaswa has more.
The state and the defense lawyers have concluded their closing arguments on Monday. The accused lawyer, Advocate Isaac Mhopo, had said that his client should be granted bail as he is presumed innocent until proven guilty. Mhopo also told the court that Shebe Mabena needs regular checkups as he was involved in a car crash that left him hospitalized for more than 2 months. The state is opposing bail, arguing that the accused is a repeat offender and has committed most offences while he was out on bail.
Heavy rains and strong winds have left a trail of destruction in local municipalities under the Amatole District Municipality in the Eastern Cape. The affected municipalities include Amatlati, Ngoshwa, and Raymond Mhlaba. There are also unconfirmed reports of damages of properties in parts of the Buffalo City Metro. Amatole District Municipality spokesperson Sisamsiwa says no fatalities were reported.
Preliminary damage assessments are currently underway in the affected areas. Within Ngoshwa local municipality, it's wards 3 and 7 that have been reported as affected. And with ongoing rainfall, assessments are continuing to determine the full impact on households and villages in that area. For the Raymond Mhlaba local municipality, 8 villages have also been reported, with some delays in reporting attributed to power outages in that area. Non-governmental organizations have also been placed on standby to provide humanitarian assistance as needed.
And finally, some U.S. media, including CNN, The Hill, and Yahoo News, have reported that South African authorities briefly detained 2 U.S. staff who were processing white Afrikaners seeking refugee status in the country. The alleged incident is said to have happened at a temporary refugee facility in Johannesburg. A State Department spokesperson is also quoted in U.S. reports as seeking clarification from the South African government. Showan Bryce Peace reports from New York.
Principal Deputy Spokesperson Tommy Pickett has quoted in several publications that the State Department was seeking immediate clarification from the South African government and expected its full cooperation and accountability, adding that they would have more to say once the facts were confirmed. Pickett warned that interference in U.S. refugee operations was unacceptable. It's unclear what may have transpired in the incident, and SABC News has reached out to authorities in both countries for clarity. Diplomatic relations between Pretoria and Washington have remained strained over U.S. allegations that the South African government discriminates against the white Afrikaner minority, something Pretoria continues to reject as having no basis in fact.
Recapping the top story, 4 people have been shot dead at Walmer Township in Gqeberha in the Eastern Cape. For SFM News, I am Anne Musa.
A very good morning to you in your SFM Sport headlines. It's soccer. Coach Hugo Bruce staying calm as the 100% edge Ghana in their AFCON warm-up match. And we also bring you exciting news from cricket. The Proteas women's star, Janae Fanika, has praised South Africa's record-breaking batting display against Ireland in the second ODI. More details just before 7:30.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Very good morning. Mid-Rand N1 South is a barometer for traffic volumes across the country this time of morning. It's all looking pretty good. I just put a pick up on x.com at Traffic SA. You can just see how open the N1 South is, how free-flowing the traffic is as well. We're looking at a very, very lighter traffic situation this morning. Durban, though, not without problems. A vehicle has crashed on the N2 southbound going into Sibaya. Now, that's causing a backlog arriving from the airport, all coming through from Belito. That vehicle is perpendicular across the N2 southbound carriageway, so I'm not sure if anything can get past without hitting the grass verge. So there's quite a backlog. You might want to detour out to the M4 south to avoid that. Also, a breakdown in the roadworks between Kwamashu and Gateway. If you're heading to the airport, that's quite heavy. And another stationary vehicle, N2 south near Umgena Road, so a bit of extra pressure on that run towards Spaghetti Junction this morning. Cape Town, a breakdown on the M3 inbound at Rhodes Drive, holding things up. And if you're coming out from Guguletu on your way through to Claremont this morning, a collision in the Philippi area, Govan and Becky and Hines Road, and that's quite slow going. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane, weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane, weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
8 minutes after 7 on this Wednesday. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. This is the Morning Brief on SAFM 104 to 107. Among some of the stories that we will tell you in this hour, we'll start with a conversation around the weapon of choice when it comes to murders in this country being firearms, guns, just the proliferation of firearms in our society and the seeming inability to curb that and to somewhat retrieve firearms and prevent introduction of new stockpiles of firearms in our society. That continues to be a feature in our complex and ever more concerning crime situation. The statistics coming through from from the South African Police Service show that firearms were used in 2,447 of the 5,794 murders that were recorded between June and September this year. So it's the weapon of choice. And we're talking about this, of course, in the wake of the shooting dead of Warwick Stock, known as DJ Waras, in the Johannesburg CBD, but also what we are reporting in our news bulletin, the shooting dead of 4 people in 3 separate incidents in Walmer Township. Not to forget the recent mass shooting in Salisville in Pretoria, which left 12 people dead, and also the ongoing, crime and gang-related violence in the Cape Flats and other incidents as well. So we'll put the spotlight on the issue of firearms, their availability, and their preference as the weapon of choice, and any campaigns that are underway to try and rid our society of firearms. We'll speak to Andy Mashaile in the next few minutes. He's a security strategist and a retired Interpol ambassador. Immediately after that, we'll be joined by Dr. Snuki Zigalala of the ANC Veterans League, not MK, ANC Veterans League, president of the ANC Veterans League. He is talking about the need to strengthen and tighten the ANC's step aside rule. He says, at the moment, the requirement is that you step aside from ANC activity the moment that you are charged. But there's nothing explicit there that says you should also step aside in your governmental deployment. So if you are an MP, there's nothing that says there, in peremptory terms, that you must step aside as a member of parliament or a member of the legislature. And they are calling for that to change, and just for better consequence management. So we'll talk to Dr. Snuki Zigalala at about 7:20. Your calls in these and other conversations, 086 000 2032, 086 000 2032. Your WhatsApp voice notes, 0614 104 107. Let's get into it. The second hour of the morning brief on this Wednesday starts now.
Hello, South Africa. Thabo Senong is my name. The wait is finally over.
My name is Mazola Mulefe. The wait is finally over.
My name is Lonwabo Miso. The wait is finally over. AFCON 2025 kicks off on the 21st of December and concludes on the 18th of January 2026. It's game on everywhere. Catch 52 live matches across SABC2 on all your favorite SABC radio stations and streaming live on SABC+.
Feel every goal, cheer every victory,
and celebrate Bafana Bafana with the nation.
SABC Sport is the official broadcaster of AFCON 2025.
You could spend 10 minutes waiting for that video to download. Or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. SMS out to 30754. Like 57-year-old Andy, who now pays only 1,083 Rand a month for his 2024 Ford Ranger. With Outsurance Comprehensive, you get 24/7 roadside assistance in case you break down, run out of petrol, lock your keys in the car, and more. Get used to getting more out. SMS out to 30754. After switching, 48-year-old Felicity now pays only 836 Rand a month for her 2020 Hyundai Tucson. Outsurance will either save you money on your car insurance or give you cash. That's right. If Outsurance can't beat what you're currently paying, ask them for 500 Rand. Make that 1,500 Rand if you've been claim-free and with the same insurer for 3 years. Savings or cash, you have nothing to lose. SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online. Limits apply.
5 teams, 1 epic journey. No flights, no smartphones, just grit, maps, and pure determination. Race Across the World Season 3 is back, and the stakes have never been higher. From bustling cities to remote villages, who will conquer the chaos and cross the finish line first? Thursdays at 6 p.m. only on S3.
Are we ready for a real conversation? SAFM, leading the conversations that move us.
14 minutes after 7. The country is reeling from the shock of two deadly shooting incidents on Reconciliation Day: the killing of popular DJ and media personality Warwick Stock, known as DJ Waras, in the Johannesburg CBD, and the fatal shooting of 4 people at 3 different locations in Walmer Township in Gqeberha. DJ Waras was shot near the Carlton Center during what's believed to have been an eviction-related confrontation, while police in the Eastern Cape are still investigating whether the Walmer shootings are linked. The latest killings add to growing alarm about gun violence nationwide, coming just weeks after the mass shooting in Salisbury, Pretoria, recently, which left 12 people dead amid relentless gang-related shootings on the Cape Flats. The statistics speak for themselves. Guns were the instrument of choice in 2,447 of the 5,794 murders that were recorded between June and September this year. Let's speak to Andy Mashaile, security strategist, retired Interpol ambassador. Good morning to you, and thank you for your time. So these incidents that I cite, how emblematic are they of our crime picture and the instrument of choice, the use of firearms?
Good morning, Tula. And very nauseating and irritating of the disintegration of the fabric of safety and security within our country and our nation. I'm specifically for crime intelligence, the shenanigans the Mahanga and the advocacy are helping you, Tulas, and I understand why we have a problem. And the only way to fix it is ensure that we write very on the crime intelligence. They very combat and detect crime, particularly illegal crime, something we see Mozambique, Zimbabwe, Libya, our country, cause mayhem, which is after the destruction of life and limb.
Is that where one of the main failures is in crime intelligence, the failure to disrupt the value chain and that industry that supplies firearms?
That's exactly where we run very low. By it is one of those critical hot we civilize in order to normalize the situation of work. Tula, thank you for many years back a document called NDP, the National Development Plan. The chapter 13 NDP by 2030 from by 2030 of this would be and for when you look at the NCA and how it runs, it will not convict people who commit crime using firearms. And by law enforcement agencies, those who arrest or investigate, those who take responsibility, things. And that's why we have a problem.
And in terms of just the flow of firearms in our society, I heard you earlier mentioning a number of neighboring countries. Which dynamics account for the proliferation of firearms in our country? Is it largely the transnational nature of that crime, the peddling of illegal firearms, or is it largely those firearms that start out as licensed firearms, but then they are stolen, robbed off from people that are licensed to carry them and end up in the illicit market?
Big Brother, the challenge comes from the demand, and the demand fueled by your transnational organized crime syndicates. you know, from the detox global initiative against like they are 20 global security, 2025 global security in it at we are number 7, number 8 after democracy and then even time to agree. Now, the demand by this organization have various costs over the world. They use money, the arms, the trade, the arms trafficking trade. We do not focus on in the world, in our strategic planning, in our conversation narrative. And the demand then comes to my home and my home community of Bukhawa again and break. Women and young people crook would break into our houses and steal the license and steal in a home invasion. Point the owners of the license and make them open the state and then they burn into the wind. They disappear into with that it's then you that the life
Yeah.
like
Lastly, then, what would a decisive strategy look like in responding to this situation, in removing as many firearms as possible, such that by, I don't know, year 3, year 4, we're no longer talking about the situation being what it is right now?
I love your question. Your question is how best can we use digital defense systems to minimize the use of firearms, illegal firearms. Plus, what should be the scenario when the manufacturers of these guns are able to put on a chip one way or the other in the firearm so that the firearm can be disabled and using your own cell phone. Maybe the manufacturer look and able from many miles away. Whether of the immunity when they surrender the vaccine, I would look at having that kind of offering so that those firearms the kids want to bring um, and cut down
Yeah.
and undercut the firearms can be used decisively so. But most importantly, family
Right.
make sure that the people who have religious firearms are arrested.
Disrupt the supply chain. Thank you for that. Andy Mashaile, security strategist, retired Interpol ambassador.
You can become a victim of a legal problem. Wrongful arrest, assault, uncontested divorce, rental disputes, maintenance matters, or labor problems. It can happen to you. Clientele Legal provides tough professional lawyers for an affordable monthly premium. Our legal team is standing by to assist you 24 hours a day. Join today. SMS SAFM to 32195. That's SAFM to 32195. Clientele General is an authorized FSP and licensed non-life insurer. T's and C's online. Standard rates apply.
South Africa, my name is Itukune. The wait is finally over.
My name is Tiniko Victor Fungwani, the principal.
Igama lam nguVusiwe intokazi yakwaNgcobo. Now we've counted down long enough. AFCON 2025 is finally here. From the 21st of December to the 18th of January 2026, it's game on everywhere. And I can't wait to be part of the team that takes you through every moment. All 52 matches will be live across SABC2 on your favorite SABC radio station in your language of choice and streaming on the SABC Plus app.
Feel every goal, cheer every victory, and celebrate Bafana Bafana with the nation. Swilo swa ku saseka, zonaka, ndao.
SABC Sport is the official broadcaster of AFCON 2025.
As part of our road safety strategy under the banner of Cross Alive, the Department of Transport, in partnership with the Cross-Border Road Transport Agency and law enforcement partners, is extending road safety efforts beyond our borders. South Africa experiences high levels of cross-border travel, especially during this time, and safety remains our priority. Let us work together to protect every life on every route. Brought to you by the Department of Transport, moving South Africa forward.
The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane.
The ANC's step-aside rule is back in the spotlight, with the party's veterans calling for tougher enforcement of that rule. They want indicted ANC members, including cabinet ministers, to step aside from government, not just party roles. The proposal was debated at the ANC's recently held National General Council and could reshape how accountability is enforced within the party. Let's speak to the president of the ANC's Veterans League, Dr. Snuki Zigalala, who joins me now. Good morning to you, Dr. Z. Let's start with what the gap is that you've identified in the application of the party's step-aside rule.
Yeah, well, I think the NGC, so it was a watershed NGC because a number of consensus were reached during at the plenary and the chief adopted the policy conference the conference of the ANC. Basically, what you're saying is that the step-aside rule is for short. It says that military is a criminal crime. So what happens is that the step aside only on official notice of the ANC. Cannot represent the ANC in a vice meeting, cannot represent the ANC in a meeting, neither can represent the official structures. That does not say that also step aside is the public representative of the ANC. So that was a loophole that was done. What happened is that also one colleague of comrades, well, I can't call them comrades now because it's very criminally charged. He was found one thing and was criminally charged. So he only stepped aside, chairperson of the portfolio committee for 2 years, but was not participating in parliament. Also, he was only going to parliament up to when it's the time for voting, something like that, because it's still the. So I think that's one of the consensus was reached that it still has to be a policy. But for it to be a policy of the ANC, what it means is that it has to be implemented, it has to be approved by the conference and also by the 56th conference and also by the policy conference. So I think we reached consensus on that. We're very happy with that. And also the other one is the question of one member, one vote, saying that every member of the African National Congress has the right to the leadership that is leadership that is essential, the leadership that subscribes to rules and regulations of the ANC, leadership that is able to put them to the table. It's basically what you call a lifetime audit. This is the person that you want to choose, how much is earning, and so you want to choose the person that's incorruptible person to be a leader of the ANC. That's another thing. Another one that we managed to reach a consensus on question of lifestyle audit, and all members of the NEC must go through lifestyle audit. See exactly when they join the organization, how much they're earning as members of parliament, how much they're earning, if they have any cash that is coming on in to their accounts with all pick up. So that's what we're saying. I reached a consensus on that in lifestyle audit.
All right. So let me ask you about one of the challenges, one or two challenges that are usually raised when it comes to the step-aside rule. One is about consistency of application, people questioning whether it's applied consistently or does it depend on whether this person implicated, is in favor with the dominant faction at the time. The other is just that standard that says you should be criminally charged for you to step aside, whereas there are instances where a person is not criminally charged, but what they are accused of, what's already known in the public domain, not denied, is damaging enough. There are many, many examples. Begicele, for example, is not charged at the moment with that being implicated by Ket Matlala. But if you look at those allegations, they are quite serious and damaging. In fact, before you answer, let me play a clip from one of our listeners who wants to give another example where they believe there's inconsistency in the application of the rule?
Hi, Thulas, uVusi Lushaba, eThekwini. If your conversation with Snuki Zagalala is not going to include the cloud hanging over Ramaphosa's head regarding Palapala, then it's not worth listening to. We can't be talking about accountability for everyone else when we all know that the fish rots from the head.
Dr. Zed?
Yeah, well, I think on President Ramaphosa, the fact of the matter is that he was not at the farm. He was not running the farm. And so you can't blame the president when he's managing. He wants to big what happened because he prepared the farm, but was not running the farm. And so now, if everything was done during his absence, why should he step aside? He has made it very clear to the NEC, and the NWC, that if this NPE finds him wanting, he will step down immediately, not just a step aside. So I don't know why he should people not understand. He was not running the farm. The farm itself, the manager was there. And so that's why he's holding the manager accountable. What happened there? Because he was not there. He was running the country, not the farm. And so second, what you're saying with Betty Taylor, it happened. You should appear in front of the Integrity Commission. One of the things that he put on the table on the issue of the Integrity Commission is that the decision of the Integrity Commission must be binding. Instead of the decision of the Integrity Commission going to the NEC then will say, yes, this person can be put into a DC. That's the question of credibility of the organization. And so that's what we agree. That the decision of the Integrity Commission must be binding. You don't have to wait for the NEC to say, yes, this comrade must step aside. And also the president appealed to all those who have doubts over their heads, kindly step aside. He really appealed. Like Comrade Mutuni. Comrade Mutuni said, look, I'd like to step aside for now from all activities of the ANC until this cloud that is hanging over me has been removed. So the president appealed. He said, please, comrades, let's do that for the sake of the organization.
Dr. Zed, I've got to leave it there. I'm completely out of time. Snuki Zigalala is the president of the ANC Veterans League. Let's go to N. Musa on standby with the latest news.
Good morning. Thanks to us. In the headlines, President Cyril Ramaphosa says South Africa cannot achieve true reconciliation while inequality persists and the pursuit of inclusive economic growth and job creation are essential in achieving that goal. He was speaking at the Day of Reconciliation commemoration in Ngutu in the north of KwaZulu-Natal yesterday. 4 people have been shot dead at Walmer Township in Gqeberha in the Eastern Cape. Police have confirmed the incident, saying the shootings happened in 3 different places. And the South African Weather Service has issued a warning that severe thunderstorms are expected over western KwaZulu-Natal, the Midlands and the north of the province today. I'll have details on these and other stories at 8.
This traffic report is brought to you by Auto & General Business Insurance. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
At Auto & General, we understand your business is built on more than just vehicles. It's your stock, tools and equipment, and the premises where you work. Auto & General Business Insurance is designed for businesses like yours, protecting your assets against fire, theft, storms, and other unexpected events. To protect your livelihood, visit autogen.co.za and get an obligation-free business insurance quote. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
It is a lot busier now through parts of Ekurhuleni, busier than you might be expecting. Generally, the rule today is free-flowing traffic unless there is an incident ahead. And here's a couple of big ones. Crash on the N3 North at Van Buren, between Van Buren and Galuli. So the N3 coming out of Alberton and Germiston, you'll hit a literal wall of traffic from Cement Factory up into that Bedfordview area. And a crash on the N12 before Atlas Road, making your way out of Benoni through to Joburg. That is a queue that is back beyond Tom Jones and back towards Snake Road. crossroads. That's heavy. Got a couple of calls coming in about a pedestrian down on the N12 between the Kendall and Ochis exits if you're driving out towards Emalafleni. So just watch for that one and possible slowdown there. Also a breakdown on Pretoria's N1 South near Atterbury. That's enough at this time of morning to push traffic volumes back towards the N4 Emalafleni split as well. Durban having a very busy Wednesday. There's a crashing coming away from the airport to Durban before Sibaya. That's a really heavy queue into that scene. There's also a breakdown after Sibaya. So the N2 leaving the airport really heavily backed up. There's a bit of pressure on the M4 as well on the alternative route with the volumes clogging that up. And then going north, a breakdown before the Umhlanga exit. So on your way to the airport, that's a heavy backlog from as far back as Queen Nandi Drive territory this morning. And then Cape Town, leaving Gugulethu and Khayelitsha on your way sort of towards Wynberg and Claremont. In fact, going the other way as well. So both ways, Govan and Becky and Hines, just in the Philippi area, quite a big crashing causing a fairly substantial backlog of traffic. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
That traffic report was brought to you by Auto & General Business Insurance. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
This is SAFM Sport with Zai Khan.
Good morning, Zai. I'm a bit lost. Where are we? What are we talking about? What's happening? Where? What?
You ignore my WhatsApp.
Hugo Bruce is staying calm, is he?
Calm before the storm, Thulas.
Mm.
You know, I think AFCON tends to bring both. I don't know if the fans are sleeping well, but nevertheless, did have a win yesterday, even though coach is playing down concerns after Bafana's 1-0 win over Ghana. The final AFCON warm-up match that took place at Dobsonville Stadium. Sipombule's long-range strike stealing the victory, but Bruce admitting performance lacked fluency. Elsewhere, Gabon will be without veteran striker Emerick Aubameyang for their Africa Cup of Nations opener against Cameroon on the 24th of December. The 36-year-old was injured playing for Marseille against Monaco and will remain in France for treatment. In the meantime, Zambia have named Fashion Sakala their new captain for the upcoming Africa Cup of Nations. Lubamba Musondo, who previously led the side, will serve as first assistant with Kings Kangwa, Frankie Musonda, and Benson Sakala completing the leadership group. Elsewhere, Paris Saint-Germain have been ordered to pay former striker Kylian Mbappe 1.1 billion rand in unpaid salary and bonuses. French court ruling comes after Mbappe sought damages and countersued Paris Saint-Germain. He's now at Real Madrid. The 26-year-old was awarded a fraction of his claim, with the court recognizing Paris Saint-Germain's failure to pay 3 months' wages in 2024. In the meantime, FIFA just confirmed a new affordable ticket tier for the 2026 World Cup amid record demand. The supporter entry tier will be priced 1,000 rand per ticket for all 124 matches, including the final, and allocated specifically to fans qualified national teams through their football associations. And finally, cricket, Proteas women's star Daniel van Niekerk has praised South Africa's record-breaking batting display against Ireland in the second ODI in Gqeberha. Proteas smashed 375 for 6, highest ever ODI total, powered by centuries from Laura Wolfart and Sine Luce. They had a 74-run victory. Van Niekerk says performance reflects clarity and confidence.
Try and look at my options. Was my option right? And then maybe the execution not. But I was really happy with the way I tried to read what the bowlers were going to do and kind of react to that. Yeah, it was just good fun. Again, I know my job. Yeah, it's quite clear with mine. And yeah, I've played the game for a long time. So just kind of back that, I guess, the time I've spent out there in my entire career.
Swing back, more sport, top of the hour for the morning brief. I'm Zai Khan.
This season, make Christmas magic together with Spar and Super Savings. Get 1 kg stock country spread tub for $45.99 plus 100 megs free data on Spar Mobile, or 1 liter liquid fruit. Buy any 2 for 50 Rand plus 100 megs free data on Spar Mobile. Prices valid from 8 till 28 December 2025. While stocks last, T's and C's apply.
BVB want to collect maximum point to go as high on the log as possible. However, the Falls are convinced with quality football, they can negotiate a decent top half position. This is the Bundesliga. Football as it's meant to be. Do not miss out. Borussia Dortmund versus Borussia Mönchengladbach on Friday, 19th December at 9:30 p.m. Live on SABC Sport and TTT Channel 4 and SABC Plus. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
If your bank makes you wait for business hours to call them, then wait on hold during those business hours, you should take a second to ask why they even have your business. Join Discovery Bank to have SA's best bank for client service, available 24/7 for service exactly like no other bank. Discovery Bank is a licensed FSB and Ask Africa's Best Banking Service winner.
The Business Update on SAFM.
Let's say good morning once again to Ndauling. Ndauling, let's start in the electricity energy side of the economy. I can imagine that if you're running a smelter or anything of that magnitude in terms of industry, electricity costs are a big factor. Now there are some moves that are underway to try and cushion those sectors.
You're absolutely right, Sulas. And according to Electricity and Energy Minister Hussein Sadamokopa, government will need to find 5.2 billion rands to temporarily reduce electricity costs for the likes of Glencore and Samankulu as part of an interim effort to stabilize the country's struggling ferroalloy industry. The funding would cover the gap between the discounted tariff smelters currently pay and a lower price as IFCOM has indicated can offer. Now, smelters are paying about R1.35 per kilowatt hour under negotiated pricing agreements, compared with IFCOM's standard tariff of about R2.12 per kilowatt hour. IFCOM is prepared to lower the price to around 37 cents, but government would need to subsidize it. Industry estimates suggest smelters remain unviable unless electricity costs fall to between 60 and 70 cents per kilowatt hour. The intervention, of course, follows the signing of a memorandum of understanding with Samankor Chrome and the Glencore Merafe Venture develop a longer-term solution by the end of next year. This plan has resulted in a retrenchment about 5,000 jobs were on the line before the MOU was signed.
In mining, tell me why South 32 is warning of job losses at one of its operations in Mozambique.
Really, really on the back of high power prices and just a prolonged power supply uncertainty over in Mozambique and failed negotiations with ISCOM, forcing South 32 to put its Mosul aluminium smelter in the southern African country under care and maintenance framework. Yeah. Now move is to trigger widespread job losses across the region. Decision follows years of talks with Mozambique regional power suppliers failed to secure electricity at a price they could pay. The Mosul became increasingly reliant on ISCOM with the long-term drought conditions hydropower supply from HCE, removing a low energy source. South 32 CEO Graham Kerr said the parties remain deadlocked on electricity pricing, leaving the intensive operation uncompetitive. The closure could affect 2,000 jobs through direct and indirect employment. Mosul contributes about 3% to Mozambique's GDP. Really, really important operation country.
And how are we looking on the markets at this hour, Ndauling?
So kicking things off in Asia, stocks are taking a turn from green to red. Trade seems choppy with markets mostly flat this hour. And in stateside, features in negative territory as investors digest mixed labor data. Zooming in on currencies here at home, the rand trading at a 3-year high is at 1677, and this can gold held near a more than 7-week high overnight, and that likely the JSC. today. Gasoline commodities, oil trading weaker, trading below $60 per barrel. Over the year, Brent is down about 20% on the back of OPEC's production strategy and oversupply. There's the latter, of course, weighing on oil today as traders slowly start pricing in the end of the war in Ukraine.
All right, thank you for that. That's Ntauling Lechela with your update in as far as business, economics, and the markets go.
Thulasizwe Simelane on the Morning Brief. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
Here's a fascinating story that's not readily within the radar of many of us, right? It was, I've seen it being reported on Business Day, but also on Farmers Weekly. It is about something called fake honey. Can you believe it? Would you like some honey with that tea? Oh, fake honey with that tea, adulterated honey. Apparently, fake honey is flooding parts of the South African market, and it's not just a consumer issue. Authorities say counterfeit products are mainly found in informal outlets, not major supermarkets. Globally, honey is one of the most fraud prone foods, raising alarm about food safety and agricultural sustainability. So let's look at how fake honey threatens beekeepers, consumers, and food security. Let's speak to Mashudu Mutswiri, who is acting regional manager in Gauteng at the National Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries. Good morning to you, Mashudu, and thank you for your time. I had no idea that this was an actual phenomenon. I knew conceptually that, there are instances of adulterated or fake honey. But do we have an understanding of how deep the problem is?
Good morning to you, and good morning to you. We have a deep problem of fake South Africa, but this fake is found in town where vulnerable they are not in stores, which is their procurement practices, and they are labeled in such a way to confuse the consumer. Because when you go to a shop and you find a product labeled honey in big letters, and then just underneath in very small letters, you need but you see it will be labeled based. So when you go buy it, you think you're buying honey, but you actually buying. And the thing is that the shops where we find this product are foreign.
So, what makes it possible for people to do this, and what's the modus operandi? What do they usually add to adulterate honey?
So they usually just cook sugar, water, and citric acid. They cook it in such a way that it thickens, and it's basically call it honey. Sometimes they add a little bit of honey, maybe a mustard taste.
And I was just reading a report on Farmers Weekly, and it actually says that honey is the third most targeted food for adulteration after milk and olive oil. In our country, what systems are in place, for instance, around testing? How can a consumer be confident that what they are getting is pure honey? Where should we be looking for the indicators? Is it in the price, or is there a testing system that is in place such that when there's a stamp that says pure honey, we can have the confidence that it is what it says it is?
Well, the big indicator right now is the pricing, and as well as sometimes the pure honey can also be an indicator, but the big indicator is price.
Say a bit more about that. Is it one of those instances where if a product is priced too cheaply, then perhaps it should raise some red flags?
Yes, okay, let me put it in this way. You go into a shop and then these products are next to each other. They're both written honey in big letters. One of them will be selling rent and the other one will be selling for 50. as a consumer, when you think that soap, you think that this is the same product. But the one product which is more expensive is from honeybee, and the product which is cheaper from it's very sugar and water, which are products that we have in the kitchen. So price would be your best indicator.
But do we have systems for testing, though? Do we have a standards maintenance mechanism worked into our agricultural value chains such that, there's some system through which suppliers can put their products such that when it has the certification that says pure honey, that confidence is instilled that it is pure honey?
Yes, we do have, we have lab testing where we test for sugars. That tells us if there was saturation or not. So we have lab testing, and we are busy as a department, where we will be also able to test the adulterated honey. And currently, when we take samples from our suppliers, send them to Germany for testing, and then the results come back, we are able to determine pure honey or there's not adulterated. And we also work with institutes such as Victoria, whereby we send our samples for them to get tested. And then when the results come back, we can determine whether the product is adulterated or not.
Yeah. Lastly, Mashudu, why is this not just a middle class problem, not just middle class problems for people who just want a bit of honey with their tea? I don't know, keeping with English traditions of having tea mid morning or something like that. Why does it matter? What are the impacts on the industry, on consumers, and the broader agricultural economy?
Well, it matters because it shows that the beekeeping industry, when people stop buying real honey, then the beekeeping industry dies. When the beekeeping industry dies, then the water drops, the economy as well suffers, as well as the ecosystem. So it's not just a consumer problem, it is an industry problem.
All right, let's leave it there for this morning. Thank you for your time and your insights. That's Mashudu Mutswiri, Acting Regional Manager in Gauteng at the National Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good morning. Couple of hold-ups around Pretoria, bottom of the Malotto Road, coming down to Sefako Makato. That's all heavily backed up. The mighty Montpellier Highway queues from Bremer all the way down to Eskia and Pafleli, and the R101, the Hammanskraal Road, coming to Pretoria, just around the Bonaccord area. Quite a backlog there. Also a crash on the M1 South, driving down towards Linwood Road. That queue starts to become quite heavy after you've got through the Stormful Road exit. There is a queue and a half that you'll hit going into that one. Ekurhuleni side of Gauteng, also very busy. A crash on the N12, making your way to Atlas Road. So coming out of Benoni, that's heavy as you line up from around about Snake Road through Tom Jones and down towards Sing. Earlier crash at Van Buren Road, backlogging traffic coming out of Germiston from Elands Interchange, and quite a bit of traffic through the Crown this morning. The Mike 1 from Boysons up towards Smith Street, the M2 coming into the Crown for connections onto the Mike 1. Quite slow going as well. Durban, a lot of pressure on the N2 highway today, driving in from the airport. A crash on the side of the road at just before Sibaya, still causing a bit of interest, so that's slow. And then a breakdown after Sibaya before Gateway. So the N2, Durban bound, very heavy. Going up towards the airport, it's equally, if not heavier, with a breakdown in the roadworks before Gateway, with a queue pushing all the way back through to Queen Nandi Drive territory at this stage. Truck crash just north of Kunu on the N2 in the Eastern Cape. That scene is currently being looted, so there is a truck obstruction and a whole lot of pedestrian activity in that Kunu area. So just please be careful there. And Cape Town, a collision earlier this morning on Govan and Becky at Hines Road, still causing a really big delay. If you use that route in from Khayelitsha Crossroads and Guguletu on your way through to Wynberg and Claremont side, it's heavy. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
You could spend 10 minutes hunting for the TV remote, Or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For her 2024 Kia Picanto, 52-year-old Janine now only pays 561 Rand a month. And for her 2025 Jetour Dashing, 29-year-old Sana pays just 796 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 30754. That's out to 30754. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Pep Guardiola's boys are convinced victory will be a good festive gift to their fans.
Hits it in towards Haaland. Haaland scores! Cross in the area. Ibrahima Konate misses the ball. Haaland scores!
However, the Hammers are confident that the citizens will not enjoy home ground advantage.
Range shots maybe. And that's a good try, and Wilson scores! Against his former club. Petrovic couldn't keep it out. And West Ham with perhaps their first attack.
This is the Premier League. Catch Manchester City versus West Ham United on Saturday, 20 December at 4:30 p.m. Live on SABC Plus and SABC 3. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport. For the love of the game.
Call Thulasizwe now. 086 000 2032.
All right, let's squeeze in as many of your voice notes and calls as possible before we get to the top of the hour. Someone here wants to talk about contamination of a crime scene.
The word contamination of a crime scene. I think every day we see this contamination of a crime scene by the police themselves. You are telling us about the criminal, the structure of the criminal. He had dreadlocks, the gun was in a plastic, and then there were footages. Is that not contaminating a crime scene? Because you are making the detective's job very difficult. These are things that are supposed to be kept down the police themselves. You need to tell the criminal that we know you've got dreadlocks. You get rid of the dreadlocks first.
Fred, thank you for that, Fred the tracker there. Interesting take. There are two schools of thought on it. You give out this information for the public to BOLO, be on the lookout for a guy who's this height, who's got dreadlocks, and someone may know that, you're saying it happened where? Around Carlton Center, and it involves a guy who looks like this. I might know someone, but you're absolutely right. I know from U.S. crime, detective shows and true crime documentaries that there are instances where police officers will then hold back one or two details that they will know that only the killer would know this. And then when they find someone who knows that detail, they will know that this person actually either knows the killer or is the killer. So it's I don't know. It's a bit of a catch-22 situation. How much detail do you give out for the public to help you versus how much you hold back strategically to not compromise your own investigation? Someone wants to talk about the summers. In fact, a few people want to weigh in on the summer awards. So let me take those back to back.
Good. I did not even know that there were summer awards this weekend. And I grew up watching year after year. It was just that excitement with my friends, as we argue as to who should win, um, back in the days, it was just this excitement to watch the performances. And the sad thing is, I lost interest, you know. And last week I was watching. I couldn't watch the last year's Grammys and this year's Grammys and I downloaded it on YouTube and I was watching it with my niece. And there's just no appetite with it for the summers because I don't know, the hype is gone. I don't know. It needs to be done. Thank you.
Good morning, Thulas and the team. Good show as always. Thulas, I would like to concur with expanding about the summers. Thulas, we have the AFCON that is coming up, but every second on SABC, we have this promotion about the AFCON. So I didn't hear the summers promos and everything. So yeah, something needs to be done there. Thank you, PK.
Morning to us. It's Mandla in Bushra
Okay.
Park. As Expanding was saying, Summers, Metro FM Music Awards, including Ukozi FM Song of the Year. They have all lost its touch. Can you imagine we all dance to Imalening from Big Zulu? On Ukwazi FM, Song of the Year, they give it to Kuzani, a song that we didn't even know. Can you imagine we all dance to Sete from KO, Imitandazo from Kapsa the Small? But Metro FM Music Awards gives the awards to AKA songs, the songs that we didn't even know. All those things have lost its touch. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Let me take a quick call from Pramoro. Good morning to you, Pramoro.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Very well. Please go ahead.
Firstly, I'll be very happy if we do referendum holiday and we can move that to the among the ID. Ghana is doing meaning. Yep. So that's happy. Secondly, when the G20 summit was Turkey was I'm not even referring to other parties. They changed down the name. They have a popular DJ and the lyrics that maybe the first people done. It's very much the British and be on the radio. Tell us about that. Which I around everybody we see things Troy. They have the fifth and just 10 nations past, which is right to the sake of
Pramoro, thank you for that. That's Pramoro. They're weighing in on the issue of hijacked buildings. Yeah, there's no shortage of solutions and thinking about solutions, but where's the implementation, right? Where's the implementation in terms of reclaiming those hijacked buildings and, importantly, preventing buildings from falling into disrepair such that at some point perhaps it's completely neglected and someone moves in and hijacks that building. Let me go to N. Musa on standby with the latest news.
In our top stories, police probe discovery of 2 bodies in a Mbombela house and a warning for severe thunderstorms over KwaZulu-Natal. Good morning. Police in Mpumalanga are investigating 2 counts of murder after the discovery of 2 decomposed bodies of women in a house in Kwa Magugu outside Mbombela. Police made the discovery after neighbors said there was a foul smell coming from the house. Police were summoned to the scene after the owner of the house could not be found. Provincial Police spokesperson Jabu Ndubane says preliminary investigation suggests the women were murdered.
When police went inside, they discovered the old lady was sitting in a sitting room and the little girl was somewhere in another room. But as police were busy with the investigation, though, however, preliminary investigation suggested that these people saw that they were being murdered. So we've opened 2 counts of murder and we are busy with the investigation. However, we are appealing to the community, anyone with information, to use our Crime Stop number, the 08600 10111, or use my SAPS app.
4 people have been shot dead at Walmer Township in Kebekhan, the Eastern Cape. Police have confirmed the incident, saying the shootings happened in 3 different places. Investigations are underway to determine if the incidents are linked. President Cyril Ramaphosa says South Africa cannot achieve true reconciliation while inequality persists, and the pursuit of inclusive economic growth and job creation are essential in achieving that goal. He says the national dialogue will help bring all South Africans together to forge a shared vision. He was speaking at the Day of Reconciliation commemoration in Ngutu in the north of KwaZulu-Natal yesterday.
We will be able to confront the many challenges facing our nation, such as poverty, inequality, crime, corruption, unemployment, gender-based violence, and femicide. For as long as the majority of Black South Africans live in poverty, for as long as inequality persists, our country will not find reconciliation. For as long as crime continues in our country, when many of our people are killed in the streets of our country, in the pathways of our villages, on the farms of our country, we will not find reconciliation.
The South African Weather Service has issued a warning of severe thunderstorms expected over western KwaZulu-Natal, the Midlands and the north of the province today. Cooperative Governance Department spokesperson Senzela Mzila says more than 50 millimeters of rain are expected, which can lead to flooding, mudslides, damaging winds, excessive lightning and hail. Mzila says warnings have also been issued for the coast of Port Shepstone and Richards Bay and adjacent areas for thunderstorms that are expected to be less severe.
The MEC for Kokta, Reverend Thulasizwe Simelane, is urging communities to exercise extreme caution as these inclement weather conditions pose a serious risk to human life. The province is expecting severe thunderstorms that could lead to flooding of susceptible roads, settlements, and low-lying bridges and areas, excessive lightning, strong damaging winds, and large amounts of small hail and large hail in populated areas.
And finally, some U.S. media, including CNN, The Hill, and Yahoo News, have reported that South African authorities briefly detained 2 U.S. staff who were processing white Afrikaners seeking refugee status in the country. The alleged incident is said to have happened at a temporary refugee facility in Johannesburg. The State Department spokesperson is also quoted in U.S. reports as seeking clarification from the South African government. Showan Bryce Peace reports from New York.
Principal Deputy Spokesperson Tommy Pickett has quoted in several publications that the State Department was seeking immediate clarification from the South African government and expected its full cooperation and accountability, adding that they would have more to say once the facts were confirmed. Pickett warned that interference in U.S. refugee operations was unacceptable. It's unclear what may have transpired in the incident, and SABC News has reached out to authorities in both countries for clarity. Diplomatic relations between Pretoria and Washington have remained strained over U.S. allegations that the South African government discriminates against the white Afrikaner minority, something Pretoria continues to reject as having no basis in fact.
Recapping the top story, police in Mpumalanga are investigating 2 counts of murder after the discovery of 2 decomposed bodies of women in a house in Kamagugu outside of Mbombela. For SAFM News, I am Anne Musa.
It's a very good morning to you in your SFM Sport headlines. The players are in action today. Unwritten Nokia backing the team to bounce back in Lucknow, while in top news, Sundowns are regrouping for a crucial run-in after the AFCON pause. That have been settled just before 8:30.
This traffic report is brought to you by Auto & General Business Insurance. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
At Auto & General, we understand your business is built on more than just vehicles. It's your stock, tools and equipment, and the premises where you work. Auto & General Business Insurance is designed for businesses like yours, protecting your assets against fire, theft, storms, and other unexpected events. To protect your livelihood, visit autogen.co.za and get an obligation-free business insurance quote. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good morning. We're looking at some heavy highway traffic around some incidents across the country. First up, Pretoria, collision M1 south at Linwood. Traffic backing up towards Stormful Road and looking heavy. There's multiple lanes closed. N1 south at that scene. Coming out of Benoni through Boksburg, a crash on the N12 at Atlas Road. That traffic parking back through Tom Jones Street. Earlier crash on the N3 north at Van Buren's being cleared, but left delays coming out of Albert, out of Germiston on the way to Galilees, and a breakdown in the double decker. So the Mike 1 and M2 routes into Crown stay heavy. The M1 through Dipcliffe down to Uncle Charlie still queuing up as well. Durban, problems getting to and from the airport. A collision and the breakdown southbound towards Durban. All of that unfolding before Gateway. That's heavy. And then going up towards the airport, a breakdown in the roadworks before Gateway as well. So heavy queue all the way back to Queen Nundy Drive. Cape Town, heavy pressure out of Gugulethu to Khayelitsha this morning on your way to Wynberg and Claremont with a crash on the busy Govan and Becky Road by Hines Road causing delays. And if you're around the highway networks of Cape Town, it's pretty light and pretty free-flowing. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
That traffic report was brought to you by Auto & General Business Insurance. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
9 minutes after 8. Without wasting any time, I just want to read quickly through some of your WhatsApp messages, and I'll take a few calls before we get to our next guest. Tandu Kolo in KZN, I appreciate your message. It's a bit lengthy, raising some pretty interesting points. So I'll read as much of it as possible, but I don't think I'll read the full message. Tandu Kolo says, regarding the NDPP matter, I believe Shamila is among the worst NDPPs we've had. All she did was decry NPA issues as if she's an outsider. She never rose to the occasion, and now she is being exposed, unfortunately, at the end of her term. However, I'm battling, says Tandukolo, with two issues. One, does her non-performance automatically mean Chauke has not taken questionable decisions? Surely it shouldn't. I believe Chauke still needs to account somehow, because I still believe he is part of the rot bedeviling the NPA. Two, says Tandukolo, how does the next NDPP deal with similar situations? They may think twice to take the same course of action as she did, that is, recommending to the president for a commission, an inquiry, because he or she will also be under scrutiny. And whether they are competent, being cross-examined by SC is no child's play, says Tandukolo. They're weighing in on that situation with the NDPP and the ongoing inquiry into Advocate Andrew Chauke's fitness to hold office. Papillon in Eldos says, 2 shocking killings in Mzansi, while others are not reported. Well, tell me, who is the president and what the heck does he care for? Says Papillon, questioning whether the president cares at all when incidents such as these occur in our country. Naftal in Pretoria wants to weigh in on the Summers and says, concerning the Summers, I watched a bit but was not impressed by staging of the event itself. I feel artists who get awarded ought to at least send a representative to receive their award if they themselves could not make it. This seems to send a message of disrespect for the event, says Naftal. And it's that same point that Zakes Bantwini was raising, saying that we may be dissatisfied as artists, but not showing up is not an option. Lastly, let me read a message from Guda in Pinoni, who says, it's okay for Europe to make Russia pay reparations to Ukraine. However, how about Europe pay Africa for the brutality of slavery and colonialism? European countries are cutting aid to Africa so that they can help Ukraine. It's their money and they can do whatever they want with it, but they must pay Africa reparations for the cruelty they did during slavery and colonialism. That is a view there from Guda in Pinoni. Keep them coming, and also do call me. I'll take a few calls just now. The number 086 000 2032. Your WhatsApp voice notes 0614 104 107. With that said, let's get into the third hour of the show.
South Africa, this is Dr. Kumalo. The wait is finally over.
My name is Walter Steenberg. The wait is finally over.
My name is Tabiso Musia. The wait is finally over. AFCON 2025 kicks off on the 21st of December until the 18th of January 2026. It is game on everywhere. Catch 52 live matches across SABC2 on all your favorite SABC radio stations and streaming live on SABC Plus.
Feel every goal, cheer every victory, and celebrate Bafana Bafana with the nation.
SABC Sport is the official broadcaster
of AFCON 2025.
For the love of the game.
This Monday evening at 7 on My Design Rules. It all comes down to this, the grand finale. The homes are complete, the designs revealed, and now the judges must decide who will walk away with the title and up to 600,000 Rand in cash. After weeks of pressure, passion, and creativity, everything they've done leads to this moment. Open up your everyday to the extraordinary with My Design Rules. Monday evenings at 7, repeat Saturdays at 2, Sundays at 4 p.m. only on S3.
Call Thulasizwe now. 086 000 2032.
Yeah, first up, Baroka. Good morning to you, Baroka.
Yes, good morning. Clifford calling you from Boroka.
You're calling from Clifford, calling from Boroka.
Yes.
Okay, I'm giving the team an eye. I'm going to be strangling a person after this. Okay, so I hope it don't besuka when I've been
No, I will be finished.
They would besuke me. Please go ahead.
Yeah, man. On regarding the step ahead, step aside, Kalapala. Look here. They always say Ramaphosa was not involved. Yes, there was a manager running the farm on his behalf. And there was a lot of foreign currency.
Mm-hmm.
So do you want to tell me the owner of the farm didn't even know what was happening? Okay, right. Where is the manager that they're always talking about him? Was the guy being fired or even arrested? And who was that manager?
Yeah. I hear you, Clifford. The way I understand it, there's been a trial that's been on the go, and perhaps this may be an opportune moment for us to get an update on how that trial, how far it went, and that's still, if it's still ongoing. I believe it is, but it's something worth revisiting. The questions you are raising are being raised within the context of that trial.
Because the trial, maybe I don't know, maybe the trials that are going on as for those guys who steal the money. It's only what that I heard of, but I never heard anything regarding the manager.
The manager of the farm and the consequences attracting. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
All
All right, Clifford. Thank you for that. Let me go to Shata, who also wants to talk about the conversation we had with Dr. Snuki Zigalal. Shata, good morning.
Good morning, Thulas. How are you?
Very well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. You know, the words out of
yeah.
He just took the words out of my mouth. Pretty much what that, Thulas.
Yes.
I got a property. That happens to be a business.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the operations that have been doing on the property. I know the operations of the business in place. When the are found on my property, am I immune to legal action? I should put it down to my employees and say, my employees, should I only benefit from the receipt of this establishment and not be accountable for the process that happened?
Yeah, that whole idea of vicarious liability, that if people commit certain wrongs while in the cause and scope of doing their work for you, you should be held liable for that as well.
Precisely.
Yeah. And you feel there wasn't enough political consequence as far as Phala is concerned. You would have wanted to see it accrue to the president.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, you are the CEO. You know, the biggest beneficiary when things go wrong, you are not being to be fair.
Yeah.
So that cannot be used to choose the not the president charge of the farm. It is really to be legal liability rests upon the 16.1.
All right. Thank you for that, Shata. Shata, they're calling in about the conversation we had with Dr. Snuki Zigalala and questions of accountability for what happened at Phala. The trial started around September, and there was a trial within a trial, which has to do with certain evidence and whether or not that is admissible. So that's where that trial is. Let me go to Loward in Alberton. Good morning to you, Loward.
Good morning. Are you well?
Very well. How are you?
Good, good. I just want a short bag plus.
Don't worry, you're not alone. Have
Okay.
you heard me choke these days? I don't know what's been choking me, Lord. Eh?
Yeah.
I'll be in mid sentence and then the throat will just close altogether. So
No, my
yeah, I
brother.
understand.
Okay, I want to talk about the Kavenda inquiry, more particularly about in COVID. This man, according to me, remains essential legal for country has not produced. That's from my vantage point. And then he never allows emotion to cloud his reasoning. He is steadfast. He stuck to law and the facts. The latest developments that we have witnessed in the ongoing Kavenda inquiry demonstrate the totality of crime. My brother, I want to indicate that even if he does not stand to the constitutional entries as justice or as a big case or a big way, what matter in the near future, we will remain proud of this man. He always displays capability of scrutinizing facts sentence by sentence, and we are witnesses. We saw the latest development where the victim was our Bakoy, who could not handle the pressure. He has to abandon the proceedings. And lastly, I want to mention is that Kubukwe and Biko, they are smiling wherever they are. Because this is the quintessential person, black excellent.
Yeah.
You cannot ask for more other than advocate.
All right.
We are very proud of him.
Lord, I don't mind actually making that point as well. That in as
Yeah.
far as his cross-examination in this particular instance, and generally the way he carries himself, Advocate Ngukai Toby, really is an asset to the legal profession. As someone aspiring to get into that profession, I only wish for half the skill, of cross-examination that he has. Absolutely.
Even a court of
Yeah,
it,
even a court of it.
Yes.
Lord, thank you for that, Lord, in Alberton. And part of it there, what I observed about Advocate Ngukai Tobe, and you may differ with me, and it's fine, right? We don't all have to agree. Abantu abaying antlanye bengewona manzi. That's the Zulu version of it. We can't all agree. My view is that he's not rude. That's one thing. He's systematic. He takes his time and he will rephrase the question, and he knows how to focus on what the question is. So you can cloud it and put a lot of cotton wool and bale and hay around it, but he still remembers what was the question that I asked you, and I'm going to come back to that question. So that's just my view of how Advocate Ngukai Toby has performed in that cross-examination. Feel free to disagree with me. That's perfectly fine. Eugene, good morning to you.
Good morning to us and good morning to your team. I would just like to speak about the issue of gun control in South Africa.
Sure.
As a legal gun owner, you tend to pick up that people and as well as the government is becoming very secretive with legal gun owners. However, they actually don't take ownership or responsibility for the illicit flow of firearms and crime in general. From a legal perspective, a gun ownership perspective, there's a process that you follow to get to your company or you become a legal gun owner in the country. I feel, and it's my opinion, that government is very slack or relaxed, or they're not taking actually any from border control to your local policing as well as to your magistrates and judges.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of illicit guns flowing into South Africa at this point in time. And the bulk of the firearms here in South Africa is guns that has come in, and it's not guns that is been taken from. There is a number of firearms that has been taken from legal owners in terms of robbery. But the biggest problem with crime, it's not a legal guy that goes out and commits crimes with his firearm. He actually has a firearm because he wants to protect himself against these crimes. Your problem is a guy like, and I'm using it in a manner where a guy like Salah for one. Check his criminal record to have told you that this guy is not even competent to have a competency.
Yeah.
Never mind owning a gun, but also his criminal background to tell you that he shouldn't be a security company. A lot of illegal guns also on the streets in South Africa.
Yeah.
Gun violence is a industry. There's a lot of security personnel that is not qualified for a competency. Never mind gun ownership. We think about our club. A lot of the time you see in the newspapers that guns have been taken from police stations by our legal police officers and sold into the criminal network in the country.
All right.
We should actually start focusing on border control, your local policing, and your charges. Because when a guy is being arrested with an illegal gun, the judicial system is very flat
All
on
right.
a criminal with a firearm.
Eugene, let's leave it there. Yeah.
For the ammunition had in the firearm.
All right. Eugene, I've got to go. Thank you for that. That's Eugene weighing in on the complex matters to do with gun control in this country.
To we buy cars we go. Gonna treat myself this year, the prices are so low. We buy cars, we buy cars, we buy all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a new car today. We buy cars, we sell all the way. Saving so much money feels like another holiday.
Ho, ho, ho. We buy cars. The most festive way to sell and buy your car by far.
Thulasizwe Simelane on the Morning Brief. Weekdays, Monday to Friday, 6 to 9 a.m.
It's coming up to 25 minutes after 8. The death of 14-year-old Likawe Komeni has forced communities to confront painful questions. What was once unthinkable is becoming disturbingly familiar. Children harming and sometimes killing each other. From rural villages to school corridors, youth-on-youth violence appears to be on the rise. Why is this happening and how do we stop it? Let's speak to Shahida Omar of the Teddy Bear Foundation. Good morning to you, Shahida, and thank you for your time. Is it an accurate observation that there seems to be an increase in youth-on-youth violence? And if so, what's driving it?
A very good question, I think. Yes, cast our mind to the past 20 years and reflect on that. We are seeing an increased incidence of child-on-child violence, and you are absolutely correct, where the intention is to do grievous bodily harm. Intention is to physically inflict a pain, injury, and even sometimes decimate the child. And your question is, why are we seeing that? The response to that is children are a microcosm of the macrocosm. They mirror what they are surrounded by. A lot of the children come from backgrounds of victimization themselves, where they are subject to this kind of conduct, punitive behavior. They're also surrounded by neighborhood violence, violence in the home, there's domestic violence, exposure to substance abuse, where they may be directly ingesting substances or parents are ingesting substances, but dysfunction of families, and then also neighborhood violence where we see the gangsterism, where children are surviving, and the only way to survive is that you join a gang. And we see a lot of children coming from backgrounds where there's low self-esteem, fear of punishment, fear of being harmed and injured. So they go along to get along. And obviously, how do they get along? Is to join these gangs to protect themselves, protect their families. And we've seen this in many hotspot areas, disadvantaged communities, where there's high rates of unemployment, poverty as well. And I know there are many families who are poverty stricken, but that doesn't mean that children are going to be violent. But poverty does create risk conditions under which this kind of behavior flourishes.
So the socioeconomic situations that children are growing up with, as you've outlined, are one thing. But are there initiatives that we could be pushing more to try and counterbalance the socioeconomic conditions that you just described? Are there interventions we should be making more decisively in the education of children around human rights, around the issues of violence, and respecting each other's rights? And are we doing enough of that?
So you asked a very pertinent question. We're doing that, but we're doing it slow, it's uneven, and it's not consistent. Some areas are receiving it. The Department of Basic Education has a brilliant policy on life orientation. They've taken 4 years to develop it. Unfortunately, it's the implementation. We have weak coordination and implementation. This is so the awareness raising, but also if we look at the work being done at schools, where educators are not equipped, or I would say ill-equipped, they haven't received the relevant training to even identify bullies, because a bully is also a victim. The initiator of violence is a victim, and to identify, to manage the proper referral. So a lot of the work still needs to be done in silos, not across the spectrum, where educators, all staff are equipped to be able to manage this, but also to have peer-led support services, assist their peers, and to have more preventative programs, more allocation of resources to prevention, the crime prevention. Teddy Bear Foundation engages in a crime prevention program. So before children fall prey to this kind of violation, they are already prepared and understand consequence management. So the bullying policies also need to be enforced and ensure that children understand consequence management, actions and consequences.
Yeah.
And there should be zero tolerance for this kind of conduct.
All right, let's leave it there for this morning. Thank you for your time and your insights. Shaida Omar is Clinic Director at the Teddy Bear Foundation. Let me go to Ann Musa with a news update, and we'll pick up with traffic and sport immediately after that.
Good morning. Thanks to us. In the headlines, Johannesburg MMC for Public Safety, Mgini Twaku, has confirmed video footage of the suspects in the Warwick stock known as DJ Waras murder case. Waras was shot and killed in the Johannesburg CBD outside a suspected hijacked building yesterday. Police in Mpumalanga are investigating 2 counts of murder after the discovery of 2 decomposed bodies of women in a house in Kamagugu outside of the Mbombela CBD. And Public Works and Infrastructure Minister Dean McPherson is expected to brief the media in Durban this morning on preliminary investigations into the collapse of a 4-story building in Redcliffe in Verulam, north of Durban. The Hindu temple, which was undergoing construction, collapsed last Friday, leaving 5 people dead. I'll have details on these and other stories at 9.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Morning, some good news coming in from Joburg. The earlier crash on the N3 North at Funbeer, and that is being cleared, and that traffic on the run through to Galilee starting to normalise. Still a breakdown, leaving Benoni into Boksburg just before Atlas Road, so a little bit of a hold up there. And don't forget, if you're driving Joburg, try and avoid, if you don't have to go in there, the Crown, Mayfair, Fordsburg area, Amalgam as well. It gets really heavily backed up this time of year with primarily shopping traffic, but those roads get really busy. So if you've got to go between sort of Rudaport, Soweto and Central Joburg, just avoid routes like Main Reef and Albertina, Sisulu and the M2 westbound. You will see some very heavy traffic there today. Crash on the M1 North just after Rivonia, slowing traffic towards Buccleuch interchange. Crash on Pretoria's N1 South by Atterbury, causing a backlog still. Durban's been a busy one, particularly on the run to the airport. The N2 northbound has had a breakdown before Gateway. Traffic heading that way very slow from Queen Nundy Drive. And Cape Town not too bad, just a little bit of pressure entering the city centre on the elevated freeway. With your traffic update, I'm Rob Byrne.
This is SAFM Sport with Zai Khan.
Zai, good morning to you. So the Proteas are in action today. It's the what? They're targeting the T20 World Cup return.
Yeah, and you know what? They were taking on India today, and you can see Andre Nokia is knocking, and we're looking forward to T20 action. Fast bowler, determined to make his way back into the World Cup squad next year, has returned to the national setup following 18 months out, earning his recall for the series against India. Nokia says he's enjoying the environment and the Proteas coach Conrad.
So yeah, I think all in all, it's just a lot of things coming together. Obviously, new coach, how he's been going about things seem to be really well. And yeah, I'm happy to be here to see how it goes as well under him. But so far it's been really good, and I'm really happy to be with the group and to sort of be a part of this.
And now we have more Proteas news, this time from the women's team. Dene Fanika saying the atmosphere in Kabeja played its part as South Africa powered to a record-breaking ODI performance against Ireland. The hosts posted their highest ever total of 375. Fanika praising the energy from the stands and calling on fans to bring the same support to Johannesburg for the final ODI at Wanderers on Friday.
He always brings a vibe, and with the band and everything, it was nice. There's a pretty good crowd out, seeing that it's holidays and all those things. So, yeah, just blessed to have the family here and some friends as well. And it's just nice to see the turnout. And we've seen it throughout the whole series, the T20s and the one days. And yeah, last one, Wanderers, rock up and come enjoy some really good cricket from the Proteas.
Let's go to soccer news. Mamelodi Sundowns facing a defining January as the PSL pauses for AFCON. Miguel Cardoso's side sailed the log leaders Orlando Pirates by 2 points, an unfamiliar position. The years of dominance. The break offers Sundowns a chance to reset, but they've got tough fixtures looming, including Pirates Orlando Stadium. To rugby, the Springbok fly half Sasha Feinberg in Zulu. There's comparisons with All Black slave Dan Carter to the shore. The 23-year-old insists he's staying grounded despite a breakout year, stressing that 2026 is about building towards the 2027 Rugby World Cup. Finally, hockey, South Africa's women, they made history, defeating Australia 4-3 to lift their first Enforcey Cup title at the Wynberg military base. And in the men's final, South Africa completed a clean sweep, thrashing Australia 7-3 to claim back-to-back Enforcey Cup titles. Christopher Kasim starred with a first quarter hat-trick and went on to earn Player of the Match tournament. That's your sport. We'll have more around 12:30 with John Helica for SAFM. I'm Zai Khan.
The business update on SAFM.
All right, let's turn to Ndauling once again for that business update. Ndauling, talk to me about the poultry industry in the country and their concerns about the AGOA renewal and that uncertainty that goes with it.
In particular, Astral has, some strain on the back of pointing to employment, skills, and investment is increasingly under strain. Latest annual reports, the company flagged the expiry of a GOA's risk that sits outside management control but directly affects operations. Trade framework lapsed at the end of September, leaves the country tariffs of up to 30% and preserves a long-standing concession that permits roughly 72,000 tons of U.S. bone to enter the local market. Yeah, as those said, these volumes are frequently sold at prices below domestic cost. Operational pressure, staffing levels, also workforce by 20%. The company cited employment conditions, availability of skilled labor as critical risks. Although revenue and operating profit in the half of the financial year, management warned that broiler margins, disease risk, and unresolved trade policy continue to threaten the poultry industry.
And in fact, just to add to that, Ndauling, in the next few minutes, we'll be in conversation with the chairperson of Astral, Tienes Ilof, just unpacking a bit further on that concern about the situation with AGOA. In other news, tell me about the JSE attracting 6 listings in 2025.
Now, of the 6 listings, new primary entrants, underscoring the ongoing difficulty of expanding country's markets despite activity. Chelsea and Fintech of Asia were the only companies to debut primary listings. Chelsea's late November listing total number companies on the bourse to 275. Overall market cap just under 24 rand. This compares with about 280 companies valued at 20 trillion rands at the end of 20. Eight secondary listings provided more momentum this year. Mining Minerals out its board in May, while European renewable group Greencoat Renewables diversify its shareholder base. Altera Platinum re-entered the market after its spin-off from Anglo American, benefiting from stronger platinum prices. Exits, however, continued on numbers. Delisting with Access Freedom, MultiChoice, and Rainbow Capital Investment. Further departures expected in 2020, including Barloworld and Metro.
Lastly, Dowling, wrap it up for us and also give us, cast your eye ahead, as it were,
Yep.
as far as the trading day goes today.
So local markets will be playing catch up today. So we're in for a start. Precious metal prices pushing higher. Overall sentiment is somewhat. In terms of company news, economic news, in the last report of the release, and it's trading still at that 3-year high at 1676. Then overall commodities still on the back of this morning on the back of oversupply concerns. It's trading just above $59 a barrel. I mean, these traders are assessing latest jobs out of the US. What it could suggest for the economy and equities, despite some uncertainty, futures turning green, mostly flat. And then lastly, in Asia, stocks back in positive territory. Of course, trade on that front means.
Right, Ndowling, thank you for that. Have yourself a fantastic day. That's Ndowling Lechela, keeping you updated on business, economics, and the markets.
The Pharaohs are highly pumped up to secure a win in their opening match in Group B, while the Warriors are confident they can silence the Egyptians in their own region. This is the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2025. Catch Egypt versus Zimbabwe on Monday, 22 December at 9:30 p.m. live on SABC Plus and SABC 2. Also available on SABC Sport on TTT Channel 4 at 10 p.m. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport, the official broadcaster of AFCON 2025. It's game on everywhere.
South Africa, this is Dr. Kumalo. The wait is finally over.
My name is Walter Steenberg. The wait is finally over.
My name is Thulasizwe Simelane. The wait is finally over. AFCON 2025 kicks off on the 21st of December until the 18th of January 2026. It is game on everywhere. Catch 52 live matches across SABC 2 on all your favorite SABC radio stations and streaming live on SABC Plus.
Feel every goal, cheer every victory, and celebrate Bafana Bafana with the nation.
SABC Sport is the official broadcaster
of AFCON 2025.
The Morning Brief with Thulasizwe Simelane.
All right, let's turn to this now. The country's poultry industry is under pressure from global trade politics and local economic strain. Uncertainty around the future of AGOA, that's the Africa Growth and Opportunities Act in the United States, has emerged as a major risk to jobs, investment, and food security. Industry leaders are warning that U.S. poultry imports are distorting the local market. Let's unpack this. I'm joined now by Dr. Theunis Eloff, who is the Astral Chair. Good morning to you, Doc. Thank you for your time. From reading the reporting of Business Day about what you said in that letter to shareholders and also what's coming through in your annual report, it seems to me that you have a unique AGOA problem. It's not framed in the typical fashion of those sectors needing to export preferential rates to the United States, but rather it's the reverse for you. Do I have that right?
You've got it right. When AGOA was first formed, poultry was forced by the Zuma regime at the time to concede to import dumping chicken meat, meat and beef from the US with no rate or fee. And we had to do it for the country, as it were. What has happened now is that we now have 30% rates on all the other industries that normally export, but we still have to accept the around 70,000 tons a month from the US, and that creates a lot of uncertainty. Now, I must just say that poultry cannot be exported from South Africa because we still have persistent poultry, even in Africa. So the moment, the pumping of a bird is somewhere, it's still a market blocker. So our exporting ability is very limited. And it's not about that. It's more about the uncertainty whether the almost free preferential imports from the US will continue.
Dr. Elof, just for the sake of accuracy, when you say that you were forced into these concessions, in your words, during the Zuma regime, are you talking about the concessions coming at a point of renewal of AGOA during the time of former President Zuma's presidency, or because the AGOA itself goes back many, many years before former President Zuma's tenure? Yeah. So it was during the renewal. So what were these concessions in 2016 that you find problematic?
Well, the imports with preferential rates from American chicken, imports account around 20% of chicken in South Africa. Mostly they are the so-called chicken on bone. The European and American market, for some reason, like the so-called white meat, the breast, and they normally dump the brown meat. We as South Africans love the thighs and so on. So they make their money on the white meat, breast, and then they want to get rid of the leg. That's why we also have dumping from Brazil and Europe. In this case, also then from America, where they only export to us the
So it would seem then that as far as the uncertainty around South Africa's continued participation in AGOA is concerned, you have a different interest. Tell me about your thinking around the AGOA renewal, non-renewal, and South Africa's possible continued participation therein. What would you like to see more of?
Well, I think we would like to see lower than 30% rates to start off, and normal rates. Hopefully that will come with renewed negotiations. Although that's a political issue that's very thorny and difficult. So we would, as a patriotic company, would like to see that we have better rates for the export, especially and that we at least will have a say in what concessions will be made with regard to US poultry. At the moment, we have not been contacted. We have not been consulted as an industry, not as an industry, by the Department of Trade and Industry about what they would put on the table targeting.
There's been a framing that says, in Washington, at least in some quarters, that says South Africa presents, quote unquote, a unique problem. And increasingly, there's a sort of anticipation that there's a possibility that South Africa may have to proceed without AGOA in place. As far as exports from South Africa into the United States, poultry exports, where do those stand and how would they look in the event that South Africa doesn't participate, is not included in the renewed AGOA?
Well, there are no exports from South Africa to American poultry. There are no exports anywhere in the world. We're not allowed to do that because others say that few ostriches in Australia proper. So it's not about our exporting, it's about us having to accept imports from a country like America and others with very low rates, with not high enough rates, it's not distort the local market. So often we say we want to grow the economy. We have been part of the poultry master plan from the health phase 2 years ago. We can invested heavily as a company, as have many other poultry companies. But we are not sure that we'll get the market because imports and dumping are allowed, and that makes it very difficult for us to use.
Mm.
I think the listeners should understand or would understand that the poultry value chain is a very long one. So it takes you 2 years to increase or decrease or feed. So we have, for instance, at the moment around 6 million chickens that join us every week. To increase or decrease that takes months, literally, because you have to start with the chick, with the egg, etc. But to be able to plan that, because you can't produce those, not sell them. And if all of a sudden you get a big whack of chicken on bone imported, your market is so the uncertainty is the biggest thing. If we have certainty about that, we can plan it. At the moment, obviously, very uncertain.
And talk to me a bit more as a parting shot, Doc, about this no exports from South Africa of poultry to the United States, or did you say to anywhere else in the world? How long has that been the situation, and what's being done to remedy that? Because I can only imagine that it really causes imbalance in the market, doesn't it?
Yeah. Look, trade wars are trade wars. So, countries may be there, the EU may be very nice about other things. But the moment there's an inkling of bird flu anywhere in any country, South Africa, they just stop the imports from us. And that has happened. And so we've always sat with a problem with, especially ostriches, but also some other outbreaks of bird flu. And the countries just stop it. Now, we do the same. The moment we've had, for instance, in Brazil, a while ago, an outbreak of bird flu, so we could then legally stop it altogether. So that's a trade weapon, that country. So at the moment, we are not exporting fresh chicken or even frozen chicken to any country in the world. We can, however, export chicken that is already cooked. But that is in a different process. You have to can it, you have to pack it differently. So at the moment, chicken, that's our problem. If there's an oversupply of maize, it can be exported. If there's an oversupply of chicken, it cannot be exported and sit in warehouses. So I think that's one of the intricacies of the poultry trade that we understand.
All right. Thank you for your time this morning. Concerning times for the poultry farming industry. Dr. Theuns Eloff is Astral Chairperson, talking all things AGOA and also trade wars, especially as they relate to that particular sector.
SAFM, guiding you through the rush hour traffic.
Good morning. Here's what you might want to avoid. The Mike 1 between Buccleuch and Sandton. There's some very heavy pressure northbound from Grayston Drive. If you're heading up towards Buccleuch, you're going to sit in traffic there. A heavy queue from Marlborough Drive up to Woodmead and from Woodmead down to Marlborough Drive as you come off the N1 southbound at Buccleuch on your way down towards the Sandton area. The Mike 1 Crown interchange looks okay. Just a reminder, Crown area, City West Fordsburg just gets really, really busy from sort of that Crown area through Amalgam, up through Mayfair and Fordsburg. If you find yourself in that part of Joburg from sort of now until about 3 or 4 o'clock this afternoon, you'll just experience the most crazy level of traffic. A lot of pre sort of Christmas shopping going on in there, and it does get busy. Pretoria's N1 South, the breakdown before Rigel. In fact, that's a collision scene. In fact, before Rigel. So coming from Garsfontein Road, all of a sudden that's quite slow. Durban's N2 between Durban and the airport has been a real mission to work through this morning, particularly on the northbound side. There's a breakdown before Gateway. It's heavy from Queen Nandi Drive on your way towards King Shaka, and then southbound another collision at Sabaya. Right lane is closed, heavy coming into that scene from as far back as the airport. Cape Town, pretty easy conditions. Just a bit of traffic congestion on the elevated freeway entering the city centre, and a crash heading into Middelburg this morning involving a taxi flipping over earlier between Middelburg Plaza and the Van Dijkstrift off-ramp into Middelburg. Rob Byrne, SAFM Traffic.
This Monday evening at 7 on My Design Rules. It all comes down to this, the grand finale. The homes are complete, the designs revealed, and now the judges must decide who will walk away with the title and up to 600,000 Rand in cash. After weeks of pressure, passion, and creativity, everything they've done leads to this moment. Open up your everyday to the extraordinary with My Design Rules. Monday evenings at 7, repeat Saturdays at 2, Sundays at 4 p.m. only on S3.
Call Thulasizwe now, 086 000 2032.
7 minutes to 9. Let me read one or two of your messages. Vic in Pretoria says the Palapala issue is more about politics and politicking than actual facts of the incident. It is only in South Africa where you are when you are a crime victim, you can be made a crime perpetrator in an instant. In this scenario, Vic says, if you as an employee of the SABC, meaning me, happen to own a spaza shop which is run by someone else on your behalf, if that spaza shop is robbed and the money is stolen or a person is short, are you, as the owner of the spaza shop, to be held accountable for what has happened? I hear you, Vic, but I think the scenario it's interesting, but yeah, I don't know if it's really comparable, because part of the responsibility on the part of the president was that the constitution says he should have no other income generating activities that are on the go. And I remember that debate at the time, whether this farm, in the manner that it is held, it was an income generating activity that violated that prescript. And I wanted to read another message that has to do with Palapala, but I can't see it now. Melusi in Germiston, weighing in on guns, says the issue of guns will never go away anytime soon in this country, because politicians who are mafias of syndicates use firearms to protect and advance their own interests. So that's the one message there. Yeah, that's on guns. And then let me go to, for some reason, I really can't see this message because I wanted to contrast their views on this Palapala issue. Anyway, I've got to move on. I've tried. Let me take a few of your calls. Let me go to AB, who wants to talk about Australia. AB in Durban. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Thulas.
Good morning.
Now, what happened at Bondi Beach was horrific, absolutely unacceptable. Now, what really fascinates me is the saturation coverage, non-stop breaking news on all the world's major news networks. There's a Bondi Beach happening every day in Palestine. On that very day, when 16 people were killed in Sydney, 24 Palestinians were murdered by Israel in the West Bank and Gaza. And no breaking news coverage about that. Bondi Beach is described as a terrorist attack, and Netanyahu and his supporters here have widened it by calling it as Islamic terrorism. What about the terrorism, the genocide over the past 2 years, where over 100,000 Palestinians have been murdered, mostly women and children? What about Zionist terrorism, by which Israel was created 70 years ago? Why is this chosen nation being given the green light to continue contravening international law with impunity? And the answer to us is very simple. The politicians in America have been bought off with millions of dollars to turn a blind eye and to give billions of dollars to that genocidal state. $30 billion over the past 2 years. So about the media coverage, to us, it's all about white lives matter. Black and brown lives only qualify for a passing mention or not at all. It's a very sad and a sick situation. Nelson Mandela and the ANC were regarded as terrorists for resisting white supremacy. And South Africa is now being targeted by America because we condemn apartheid Israel.
Gotcha. AB in Durban, thank you for that. That's AB out in Durban, providing a critique that I think I've heard many a times of how the media treat these incidents and occurrences in different parts of the world, depending on who is involved. Raz in Krugersdorp, good morning to you. Maybe because I can't find the other message, maybe you have a different view, a counterbalancing view from the message I read earlier on about Palapala. Good morning.
Yes, I have a counter view.
Sure.
Good morning to the listeners. Yeah, it's a counter view. The Palapala issue, the saga is just, this shows how good or how well our president is. Because they try to frame him on Palapala and they have nothing else. It's a campaign. I'm not talking here on behalf of anyone. The case of Palapala to us, the nulum crimen sine lege. Literally meaning
Wait,
no crime without.
Slow down. Go slow. It's a what?
It's a nullum crimen Simelane.
Yes.
It's a Latin doctrine, meaning
Yes.
no crime without a penal provision.
Yes.
Meaning there's no crime that you can commit where it cannot be punished. Remember, the accuser is just a Fraser in this that political point scoring. And the guy that is proclaimed to have that $500,000 with the so-called profiles, that very same guy, security character, who does not even have that $500,000 in his bank account.
Who's
So
this now?
why are they, they are
the guy
just,
was buying, but didn't come for his buffalo. Was it his cattle?
yeah, the guy that they claim had $500,000 with, I think it's from Niger or something, somewhere in West
Yes,
Africa.
yes, yes. I
He
remember
did
that.
not
Yeah.
even have money. So they're trying to, it's something that's not about any a merry-go-round. This shows how our president is. And you see, why am I saying this? If you look at the previous president, they were outset. I think it's a simple jealousy that President Ramaphosa is going to
Raz,
finish his term.
Raz, let me just quickly come in on this. The one question that, and I don't have the provision in front of me, and we're almost out of time, but I was never comforted with the explanation for how this sits against the provision that says the president must not be involved in any other paid work. I don't know, as a citizen, I've sat with that question and I continue to sit with it. Were you comforted as a citizen?
No, I am comforted because the president, we know his financial status before he became a president. Yes, any civil servant must declare his private billing or his private bill. But he was elected and he had to recuse himself from all those activities on the country.
All right.
This case is nothing but an only prosecute.
All
you
right.
can hear from
Raz,
you can't prosecute.
Okay. Raz, thank you for that. I do need to move on. We're completely out of time. Raz there, waxing lyrical in Latin. Hey, he is flowing in Latin this morning, but I'm pretty sure that debate is far, far from settled. And it seems to me we will continue to come back to these questions from time to time. But that's where we have to leave it for this morning. Thank you for listening and thank you for your robust engagement as always. The Talking Point with Kathy Mushlahlana up next here on SAFM. I'm Thulasizwe Simelane and you've been briefed.
In our top stories, 2 bodies discovered in suspected suicide fire and minister to disclose preliminary probe into KwaZulu-Natal temple collapse. Good morning. 2 bodies have been discovered after a fire incident in the early hours of this morning in Alberton, east of Johannesburg. According to the City of Ekurhuleni Emergency Management Services spokesperson, Tucky McDonald, they received an emergency call reporting a structural fire. McDonald says during the search, a note was found on the kitchen table suggesting a possible suicide message.
On arrival, firefighters found 2 units involved in the fire, the bottom flat and the flat directly above it. Firefighters acted swiftly